Welcome in, one and all. Let's hear how those gyros sound today. Oh, Cork is so loud. Did we get any Weibos in there? We did. Volume on the clean feed's being a little bit strange today. No matter.
全军出击！
Shahu traded on level 1. Phase Rush will Shanks an extra backstep, but then the Clockwork Wind-Up starts to come through. Doesn't want to be the third Q at level 1. Yeah, that's a bit much there. Shanks is probably getting a little bit better at that trade. Typically, Clockwork Wind-Up works out in favor of Orianna, but Annie just spamming Qs at you tends to hurt a fair amount. Wait 1 second, I'm going to close my window. It was cool. Heal blown by Crisp there in the 2v2 just as I go to step away from the microphone. As is tradition, got to do it at the worst possible time. Kyle on the Bard, doing well so far. With that in mind, forcing that summon up. Is Bard good here? I think Bard's good here. We've got champions like the Orianna and the Nico who can get caught out by it in mid-game. It's less about the mid-game power in this draft, though. I feel like it's much more about the laning power and the ability to move around the map. You know, if you get to deliver Wukong Annie into a good engaging position with the Magical Journey, things get a little dicey for the other side. One of those things about Bard as well, by the way. Sometimes I think about him as a semi-global champion. You know, the ultimate's a long-range engage, but that's not necessarily why I think about it. His Magical Journey, particularly if you think about the wall behind Dragon Pit and Baron Pit, can cut a journey by about, I don't know, 5 seconds or so. He's very quick at allowing his team to move around the map if they are on the same page and in the right position. Also, I've been trying to add, what's it call it? A new emote to the stream. I haven't been able to. Just know, if you ever see Amazing, it should be in there. And for this, I am sad. Dive into the bot side as I look away. Easy kill. Tarzan getting that first blood for his team. Initialise going forwards. Can he flash forward for a final kill? No, he can't. Now he's left away from his turret. Does that change anything? I don't think so. Light burning, no summoners. Crisp will die. Light and Crisp getting punished by Tarzan Kyle. The early movements of AL always been one of their stronger points. Tarzan Kyle, that duo really, really being the engine room of this team. Thanks again, just trading well in this mid lane. Just moving about the map now, lane swap coming through. But weren't both Hope and Light both AD for Iwandi at some point? That is a question. Yes. Hope, I believe, was on WE with Iwandi for a bit. I can't remember about Light. Yeah, apparently they are. Apparently they were. I can't remember both of them. WE Hope, I remember that one because I remember casting that. Fun fact, by the way, I've beaten Iwandi in an ARAM. Yeah, I think he was traveling for an event once, and I ended up beating him there. weird stuff. He was on the European servers for a brief while. Yeah, and yeah, I remember that. So they were traveling for something or other. Ult in that mid lane, not uncommon. Now looking for a dive topside. Tien, fairly tanky with the giant spell already. Can tank this up fairly well, and we'll start to do so. It's in easy as you like. No summon has even needed to be used. Easy kill, Flandre. There's such a loud rumble voice as he dies. Oh god. Oh man. Tarzan will start the dragon on the other side. Top side again. Oh my god, Flandre can't catch a break. This time he has the ultimate though, and Light will have to flash out a turret. This time it's a lot better. Can he flash forward? Oh yes, he can. The overheat, not quite there. Doesn't have the extra damage on the auto attacks, but doesn't need it just yet. We'll go overheat very, very soon. And we'll probably just die before it comes through. A 1-for-1 in the top side. He does clear out the wave as well. Light going down and blowing both summoners. Not what Light wants at all. This Kai'Sa not getting value out of this game so far. Breathe. Using needlework for the slows. Tarzan not in range for the E, would have to flash inside the W to get the target unlocked for that. Not able to do so. Cross-mapping. Very much everywhere now. So this is what happened after the teleport. Had the level 6, had the ultimate. Clears the full wave. Crisp has to back off. Tien, we said, oh, he's fairly tanky right now. Well, he doesn't want to tank it at that point, and then, you know, a couple tower shots later, flash heal from Chris tries to save his AD carry. He doesn't quite manage to do so. Flandre gets a huge play there. Hey, Rosary, good to see you. This lane swap initiated by Weibo is so good for AL. The thing is, they still managed to get 2 kills onto Flandre. They've managed to avoid the Bard Corki laning phase a little, which was a problem for them. Now the thing is, I actually think the idea of the lane swap is the correct one. I think that Weibo should have gone for that. However, I guess my issue is just the execution of it. Even in gold across the map. Leading top lane to Flandre. He's managed to get a little bit of gold from that kill, of course. Same amount of farm-ish. 80 carries, about even. Tarzan's going to get the grubs. Does he get all 3? Well, does have smite. Tien walking over. Could be a smite fight. I think it's going to be 3. Yep. Tien not there in time. So tower pushing, very effective now for anyone's legend. And this is a problem for Weibo. Because typically, they are a team which like to cross-map. They like to trade things. And while you can do that when you don't have any grubs, if the enemy team takes a dragon, you can take a top lane out of turret, etc., etc. If you want to take an objective and then anyone's legend want to trade at that point, or you don't want to fight them, if anyone's legend get access to a turret, it's gone. Gone in a single wave when you have 3 grubs, especially into mid-game. What do you mean, the frickin' cannon? Don't use spamming that. Ugh. Cretins, a lot of you. I have a chat command in my Twitch chat, which shows you how many cannon minions I've lost. Well, it doesn't really. It's just if you type cannon, it says I've lost a cannon. Chat gets to decide, I suppose. Shahu going for the Rod of Ages. Orianna build, interestingly. Wants to be a bit more tanky. He needs to flash out of that, and does. The T1 Bard skin. Flashes up the logo as the ult just goes wide, as Shahu gets away with his summoner. Very close to hitting them, even with the flash. Sam's never punched a mic either? I know. I know. Crazy how he's never managed to punch a microphone, which we've never talked about on stream before. Good morning to everyone across all of our chats, by the way. Currently live on Twitch, YouTube, and Onivia's restream highlights as well. Get yourself settled in. Got 2 great series today. Weibo versus Anyone's Legend first, and then we have Top Esports BLG second, especially with Top Esports and BLG getting rocked a little bit recently. This is quite an important one to right the ship. Top Esports lost to Invictus Gaming yesterday, and BLG lost to this team playing him, Anyone's Legend, not too long ago too. In fact, they dropped a game to Weibo as well, and we were wondering whether Weibo would take the series. Both of these teams, despite being 4-5 and 5-4 respectively, have managed to shake the foundations a little bit. Very good games today, USD. Yeah. Anyone's Legend. Ooh. Utilizing the Annie pressure very well, actually. Shanks has been dropping ult on cooldown, as you kind of do as early game Annie. One of the reasons why Annie's been doing quite well again recently is the fact that she can't just dump her ult pretty much on cooldown. Early game, get control of a lane, and you don't have the HP to fight back. You're not solo killing, but what you are doing is just providing a ton of pressure where the Orianna has to step back. You know, if the Annie Tibbers goes onto the minion wave and the enemy champion, it's instant wave clear as well, and you're fighting against a wave against you. It's a real pain. Taz is going to start the Dragon, second one of the game for them. With the chunk onto Xiaohu, he's not going to be able to push up bot lane and contest. That should just be free play onto this Dragon onto the bot side. Flandre doesn't have ult. Might well just die here. Where is that Impale? Does he need it? No, don't think he does. That well, I call me a liar. Flash away from Flandre. Is there anyone else coming up to his side of the map? I mean, there's a Nico that... Oh my god. If he gets far enough away, he can teleport out. How have you managed that, Flandre? He will teleport out to safety. A true SOAS experience. Flandre makes it out alive. That is illegal. Weibo will teleport up their Orianna towards top side, but the 3 grubs from Anyone's Legend, we mentioned this earlier, cross-mapping against 3 grubs sucks. Full tower from Anyone's Legend will be taken quickly. Flandre, will he get up there in top side in time to make a difference? I think he will be, actually. Got to wave clear out the last of this wave. There is a shockwave from Xiaohu. At the last play, easily won, though, the race by Anyone's Legend. Top tower will be taken, though, by Weibo, but they give it the first tower. So the feats of strength go over to the side of Anyone's Legend, but they do manage to share some gold between Breathe and Xiaohu. Rod of Age is already built up by Xiaohu. Breathe working his way towards that Rift Maker, which is so commonly see, of course, on the Gwen. There was a while when we saw stuff like Malignance on her, actually, at points. That was kind of funky. And then Shadow Flame, obviously very powerful too at points. There was a Storm Surge and a Lichbane build. There was an Electrocute Gwen build. Oh, worth noting as well, Gwen's gone for the Conqueror, not for the Grasp. We've seen a lot of Grasp Gwen recently. Conqueror, though, gives you so much extended fight potential. We're still fairly even in gold, you know. 2 Dragons to Anyone's Legend, 3 grubs. Yeah, the objectives are going their way, and it does feel like they've been getting the better of the actual map movements, but... Strong Gwen. Cull about to pop on the Kai'Sa. Weibo are not in a position where they can't fight. What I need to see from Anyone's Legend is for them to, you know, really punish Weibo as they look for their next kind of bits of pressure. You know, when we get up to around the Herald, when we get up to around the next Dragon, I want to see Shanks again, just dumping that ult on someone if it's appropriate. Or Anyone's Legend using their ability for Bard to create angles, catch someone out before the fight comes through. You should really be angling at that Flashless Orianna, for instance, or trying to force the flash the next time it's off cooldown. Three grubs a real threat from Anyone's Legend. They start to push in on different lanes as well. Rumble on contestant top lane right now. Tarzan walking up here. Tries for some Corki. Does some damage to that tower. And Kyle goes back and gets himself... not goes back, he gets himself the evolution on a support item. Wait, Nico clone can blow up the Bard shrines? I never knew that. Holy crap, I didn't even realize. That's new tech, Nico. Bard counter, denies the shrines. Crazy how that works. Forcing their way into River a Weibo. Skarner's pretty tanky. Has himself the Heart Steel. 1 stack on that already. Aim of I could see. Weibo do manage to brute force their way into the Herald side of things. AL not ready to play that fight just yet. Teleporting up the Annie. He's level 11. That's important. Does give you a lot of extra stats to play around. And Xiaohu's core doesn't have the flash just available there. Actually, just did. Good disengage coming there from Chris. Bree getting crazy damage down on the Gwen. Remember, it's the Conqueror extra fight damage, but you got to be able to live, and he can't. The shockwave comes through, but it's not enough. Exhaust starting to fly. Equalizer is going to open up a red carpet for Hope to roll on forward. Xiaohu has flash, but I do not think it will save his life. All he does is extend the pain and suffering just a little longer. TM will go down. Anyone's Legend find the first fight of the game, and it is huge. Tibbers will tank the turret. Chris, I do not think you're making it out of this alive. Anyone's Legend finding an awesome fight around the AoE team fighting damage. Weibo will see their support die as every single member dies on the top side of the map. There's no even return kills. The only kills which Weibo got were the ones onto Flandre in the lane swap scenario early. They dove him twice. The catch out Xiaohu, he has flash. Chooses not to flash there. Chris, it's not bad, but you can see that Weibo is still kind of preoccupied with starting to kill the Herald. Breathe jumps in, uses his E, but he's got nothing left at that point, you know? No one else is providing CC. I really think there should have been an aggressive shockwave as Breathe went in. Came in a little too late. He needed to buy another Q, another E perhaps from the Gwen, and maybe that would make a difference. Or the Impale, of course, would have made a big difference. I think Weibo getting a little too split between killing the Herald and taking the fight. Dragon now available, but Weibo will have to fight this one from behind the game. Shockwave is back off cooldown. Most of the ults are back off cooldown. With Impale coming back up now. Every single ult available again. Bumble teleporting in. Weibo starting to take the dragon themselves. They really don't want to allow this soul point. Equalizer coming back up in the next second. Shanks walking up too. Doesn't have flash. Might not need it. Cyclone comes through. The damage starts and the Tibbers misses. Don't think it'll matter. The Impale's pretty good though. Shockwave comes through as does Nico. Well, I just don't think the damage is there though. There is just no damage. It's not awful from Weibo. Kill back goes on to Light. Light manages to get something there, but he'll die for the attempt as well. Anyone's Legend, no walk forwards. I don't think it'll take that much more to close down the kill. Light is snuffed out. Anyone's Legend take another huge fight back to back after that Herald, and will take the Dragon's soul points. Doesn't even matter that Shanks misses his ultimate. Wonder if we'll get a replay of that fight. I'd like to watch some of those bits again. Shanks missed that ultimate, but I've said this a lot on stream recently. I'm gonna watch again in this replay. Fighting around these choke points in River, either this one that Breathe just walked into or the one with Xiaohu's hanging around there, those choke points in River determine, I would say, about 80% of League of Legends right now. So nasty. Yeah, the ult misses. The Impale's good, but the Impale doesn't have follow-up. And Chris goes in for an ult after, but it's a 2-man. One of them's a clone, of course, in there, so it doesn't count as a 3-man. Light manages to get a kill onto Flandre, flashes away, but the follow-up from Weibo has been poor this game. It's been really, really painful for their team fight so far. Two fights in a row, Tien ults someone and there's no damage to follow up on. Yep, and I think that breathes as he jumped forwards at the Herald. I think there was a good angle there. He actually found good damage for himself. There's just no follow-up. Weibo needs to really lock in on these team fights. I think of the mid to top table teams, Weibo have the worst team fighting. Hey, Solar Puppy, good to see you. Atakan spawning on the top side of the map now. Root missing from Crisp. I don't think Crisp has necessarily been the problem on the Nico. You have to look at Xiaohu, Breathe, and Light to combo up just a little more effectively. We didn't get an Intercon yesterday. There's always more time for an Intercon, though. That's something you learn in the LPL. Atakan is patient. Atakan is patient. He knows. He knows that there are more opportunities to play more lives of video games. Tien. Not even the Herald forwards. It's pretty tanky, of course. But the Bard all goes into mid lane turret. And that's the end of that. Herald countered by Bard. Yep, that's a fun interaction, which is definitely good for the game. It's been like that for a little while. So Herald doesn't even get any value for Weibo. Flash forward, Shanks caught out, does have his flash himself. Is it going to be enough to survive? For a little longer, but not quite long enough. Flandra dies again. Not bad from Weibo now. If they win this hard enough, perhaps they can get the Atacana. Flash forward for Kyle. Gets a slow onto Chris, but that's it. 2 for 1. Tien goes down. I think with the Skarner dead, I don't think there's an option to go towards the objective. You don't have the smites. Teleport in from Breathe, wanting to clear out this mid wave. Of course, with the 3 grubs, anyone's legend can really threaten that. Breathe. Will charge up his Q and his E. Clear through that wave. And 3 grubs on anyone's legend means they can just take the turret, though, and Breathe. You've teleported in, and I just don't think that value was seen. Hope will get the kill with a final auto attack with the Triforce. The Q from the Nico. Not enough to kill. Let's hope we'll take the magical journey away to safety. Barrier on that Kaiser W. Yep, I would have done so, mate. That was some, as Foxdrop would call it, squeaky bum time. It's, yeah. You clench a little, and you hope for the best. 3-0-10 on the Corki. This Corki pick for Hope was one of his worst picks at the start of the year. Hey, Raph, I can see you. Hope you're doing well. I mean, the initial pick isn't bad from Weibo. It's just Tien gets caught out on the other side. If Tien lives through this, you can go towards Atakan. That is the real tragedy of this. If Tien doesn't die, you can get a clean objective afterwards. For once Weibo get themselves a... Rumble, stop crying. Jesus, please. It makes me feel so bad. Oh, God. Oh, man. But Weibo can't get themselves that clean exit from the play. Lose another 2 under the tower as Breathe tries to stop the 3 grubs from killing the turret, and things fall apart. W just short. Oh. Hope barriering. I mean, let's be honest. You'd rather use it and not have to need it than not use it and have to need it, of course. Dude, this Rumble skin, just all of the voice lines as he dies, the scream is, it's getting to me. Breathe will take a bot lane out of turret. It has no Nash's Tooth, but does have a bit of attack speed. Light come down as well. Objective bounties for Weibo. Well, I guess giving up Atacam and Soul Point and 3 grubs. Yeah, that'll add some value onto anyone's legend, which is not necessarily shown in the gold at the top of the screen. Look, a 3,000 gold advantage. It could be worse. It could be worse, but all of the extra objectives make it much less good. Another objective guarantee taken by Weibo, actually. They're losing towers on the top side of the map, though. Take the dragon, stop the immediate soul. It's not the, of course, strongest soul as Chemtech, but occasionally is incredibly valuable. Anyone's legend do give a decent amount of gold over to Weibo by doing that, by the way. For each objective bounty. How much is it per objective bounty now? Is it just me tonight, Alex? So for the first series, it's just me, and then Sam is coming in for the second one. I mean, do you want to hop in, Rafa? Do you want to hop in? You can if you want. I ain't stopping you. You feel like a little bit of just a little bit of treacherousness, a little bit of traitorness, a little bit of treachery. Hey, you said that you were going to do the second series, Sam. So, I'm taking the opportunity to, plant the seeds of treachery. You know,
do it. Get in. Get in.
Do you remember the? Did you ever play Hearthstone around the Grim Patron era? Everyone, get in here! Whenever Grim Patron took damage, it would summon another Grim Patron. And what that would mean is that if you had things which did 1 damage all the time, you could get a full board of like 3-2 Grim Patrons. It was sure something, Sam. It was sure something. Well, anyone's legend, taken a lot of very good fights, and Weibo have not been that coordinated. That's been the big problem here, is that we've had a couple of good impales or a good jump forwards and breathe, and then just the rest of the team's not on the same page. You know, there have been some rumors, folks, that Weibo have been trialing out different AD carries for reasons as well. I mean, of course, we haven't heard those reasons. I say for reasons. I hope there's a reason, but it feels like Weibo are, again, just trying to find themselves answers to the problems they're going through right now. They're not as good team fighters as the top teams. They're struggling to find that spark which carried them to Worlds in previous years. Of course, they don't have that. Hang on a second. They're going to go catch out Chris. But okay. Not sure about that one. He was recalling on Vision. We'll stop the recall from Chris, but ult now down. I'm good. Sam's offering me a drink. He's trying to do it silently so it doesn't interrupt the broadcast, but I like to, yeah. All right, Rafa, you just message me on Discord when you're ready. We'll get things set up. So Rafa will be joining us for a series today. Damn, that is a pleasant surprise, I tell you. God, I haven't casted Rafa in forever, you know? We did a couple of practice casts here and then. You know what? I'm actually not sure that Rafa and I have ever done, like, a proper cast together before. This will be a first. We've done did a practice one in off-season a little while ago. You know what? I'm looking forward to it now. 2,000 gold over to the side of Shanks. He's at, of course, a massive point of magic pen with level 16 just around the corner. You'll have, what, 20% pen from that. Bloodletters will get some more. And Baron's started by Weibo. And I suppose if there's time for a desperation Baron, it's when the objective bounties are up. Only 3,000 gold behind. That's a lot of damage from the Baron. You can't stand in and say, oh, we Baron ults will start to stop that leash. Doesn't stop it completely. We're into a flip scenario. Into the low HP. Who gets the Baron? Impale comes through. Where's the damn spot? It goes to Tarzan. Of course it goes to Tarzan. Jen will die as Weibo leave the Baron looking for a pick. They don't find it. They don't find the Baron, and they're going to die on the retreat. Hope will jump forwards in anyone's legend fight. Everything they ask for. A triple kill to Hope, as Weibo find none of that either. Everything is lost for Weibo. Game 1, a tragedy, a terror, a loss for Weibo. With 3 Krubs, this might be the end of the game. Like, unironically, they could stick around and look for the end. They have HP bars. There's desync death timers. I think anyone's legend could look for the end of the game. Jesus, where did this come from? Anyone's legend taking no prisoners here. Inhib will die, and that'll be about it. Alrighty, let's bring Rafa into the call, and let's see if we can get him on board. Howdy, howdy, Rafa. How you doing? Let's share the screen with you and see if we can get on the right page. So the Baron was stolen. The team fight was a whole thing. Weibo have somewhat struggled, we shall say, to play out this game.
Oh, okay. I see a feed now.
There you go. Cool. Right, well, hope that's fine then.
Yeah!
Everyone welcome in Rafa. As, look, I'm not going to lie, mate. I think this game doesn't have long for the world. Weibo just teleported in.
Yeah, we're chilling on the side here. Flandra now doing battle, flashing away, and now Breathe might be on the run. Good-tempered Fate landing right on top of Shao. Here comes the Cyclone, a Pop Blossom, all for naught. I mean, Chris, you're going to try to do your best to salvage this situation, but these guys are almost 10,000 gold down. Anyone's legend coming back with vengeance. And now, this just might be the start of a second rebound series where Anyone's Legend are returning to prime form.
I love that you bring up that point. Anyone's Legend, there were so many questions about them. Perhaps some people preying on their downfall because, you know, they've rocked the ship a little bit this year. They're walking towards the Nexus, and they're looking good in this first game.
Anyone's Legend. It's a nice way to kick things off here in our first series tonight on this wonderful, very beautiful. Like they are back in that defending championship light that they were able to prove just a couple of months ago. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Anyone's Legend taking on Weibo for game 2. Let's hit the rift.
As we wait out our customary gyos here, I will say I'm obligated to mention nothing beats beats a Jet 2 Holiday, that's one, but nothing also beats Qingdong Gaming's crowd leader as well, their chant leader. You know that guy, the Qingdong? I need that guy to just commentate my life. I would get so much more done. Fight over reward at level 1.
Are they going to be okay? There's not really any CCs taken by any of the Anyone's Legend members here since Tarzan needs to go for that Comet Spear for a nice clear on the level 1. So it's just a bit of trading, a little bit of HP lost in the aftermath. But Breathe will not have a chance to get any HP or reset back, so he's going to walk to lane down a couple hundred HP here.
That is a problem, because the Renekton, where you start to really get value in that top lane matchup, is at the very early levels. You can't really afford to let that go. That light mistake there, by the way. The Ricochet going onto a lot of champions, but that last minion he threw it onto didn't get the Ricochet across the wave. Does lose you a little bit of wave control. One of the big things about the Sivir is it's instantly deleting the wave, and it potentially gives Kyle and Hope a little bit easier access to level 2 when that comes around on the second wave.
Kyle just being a nuisance, not allowing Light or Crisp to set up more of an advantage state, trying to control the bushes here. That's the extent of my bot lane knowledge there, Nymaera. I do not ever touch this lane when I'm playing solo queue.
Hey.
I'm usually playing around mid lane, and when I see the bot lane just fight like this.
You know what? I'll give you some freebies, a little goodie bag you can take away. The reason why Sivir is so broken right now is she starts W, instantly deletes a wave, and it doesn't matter what support is, she gets them through to level 2. That's why we see Sivir with Alistar so much, because she wins the early lane for the Alistar. Now, the thing about Alistar is, Alistar has 0 wave control. You can sometimes pulverize the wave. Realistically, you're not going to see that. He also doesn't have ranged auto attacks. He doesn't really get to do that much damage at level 1. The way that Alistar can sometimes win lane, and Vampire's actually quite good at this, by the way, is just headbutt you away. Just press that W. That's effectively used like a ranged auto attack to say, I'm going to trade at the level 1. You can't do that into lanes like the Rel, though, who can stop you with that Q as you go in, and you get stunned up in front of the AD carry. Or, of course, the Sivir, who gets to do so much damage through you on the Ricochet as well. But that's kind of the bot lane meta that we're seeing around these two particular champions right now, and it really does impact things because we know how much a level 1 shove can do. Light gets the easy level 1 shove, goes back for the cull, wants to immediately scale up. I think he knows exactly what he needs to do this game, which is reach 2 items and be a pain in the arse in teamfights later.
Depending on how well Breathe can hold this freeze on Flandra, it might put him... I know the term we use is jail.
Tien.
Hang on. Tien is also here on the top side of the map. Uh-oh, Flandra. Can he get a double slice and dice through either of the champions here? He's forced to flash, but the pillar comes out, and yeah, we should... Oh, wait! He gets the slice and dice through Tien! The flash from Light continues it anyway, and at first blood for Weibo Gaming.
A double roam up to the top side. I guess they didn't expect the Sivir to be there on that wave as Flandra goes down. He died twice in the early game, last game too, because Weibo hard focused on that top lane matchup. Weibo get themselves a lead into onto the top side of the map. Breathe presumably will just teleport down bot side. Yes, he does. He'll collect a wave there. Weibo, not a bad opening to this first part of the game.
Now, Anyone's Legend, as a response, they know that Light doesn't have Flash. Barrier will be available, but Tarzan and Flandra, the power of that empowered W can break through the shield if he uses it correctly. He's forcing Link to tank up the minion wave as much as possible, and he just gets the solo kill because Light realized, oh crap, there's a Pantheon, I'm dead anyway.
Weibo don't send anyone to support their cold start. Level 2 AD carry. Hits level 3 partway through that trade, but Weibo should have sent someone to protect the Sivir on that side of the map. Giving Flandra back a kill after he'd just been killed himself is a big mistake by Weibo. Shanks now getting aggressed on by Tien. Doesn't have the flash to force this.
Shanks is forced to flash here, Tien. Will he be able to pull up another W off cooldown?
Tarzan?
Is there a laser available from Xiaohu? Tarzan will stop him in his tracks. Tien gets stunned up by Tarzan. Things are getting dicey here, but Flandra's around the loop. Crisp is also here, pops the heal for the movement speed. Flandra goes in, empowered stun onto the Tien, and now the Troll King falls, but Flandra's gonna go down next, surely. No way he gets out right. No way! Do they not have enough? Q flash from Chris guarantees another kill for Xiaohu.
Bloodbath in the early game. 5 minutes, 4 kills. That is the LPL I'm here to watch. Xiaohu gets himself an important kill here, and that's something that Anyone's Legend would have wished they didn't give over. Victor is that other scaling carry, which of course we haven't talked about because he wasn't involved in those early kills, or of course the death on Light as well. But for Victor, getting a kill gets you further towards your first upgrade too. It allows you to get something like an empowered E or Q, just a wave or two before you really should be able to. 25 stacks when you get a kill or an assist. Anyone's Legend, they do come out with 2 kills on their Renekton, who's, at a point of power in this early game, yes, but I'm worried about the gold they're giving over to the scaling factors of Weibo here.
Yeah, I love you bring that up because Anyone's Legend, we talked about it at the beginning of the draft before getting into the game. These guys are on a timer here. You've got some late game insurance with Hope Senna, but he has not been involved in any of these skirmish scenarios, so he doesn't benefit from the chaos that is happening. And Weibo are saying, well, you know what? Yeah, you guys are getting kills, but we're also getting gold for ourselves. And as long as they are going even blow for the first 15-20 minutes, that's a perfect game state.
Is worth noting that Hope has got a big CS advantage because Light died on that top side wave crash them. So Hope does have that. What that means is that Weibo don't really want to have the Sivir matched up against the Senna necessarily. I actually think Hope can walk beyond the wave now and threaten him. As it stands, going into 1v2, Alcove Gaming, but against Breed's wishes.
He's still got a flash. He throws down the Dark Procession. Gets rooted up by Hope here. Pulverized by Kyle. Breathe.
Flandra?
Want to burn the flash. At least he is still healthy enough that he can hold on to his summoner spells. Not sure if Flandra was trying to catch him out on the other side.
I think he was, because Tarzan just hit level 6 at the same time. I think if Breed didn't back off soon enough, there would have been a Pantheon ult heading into his general vicinity, and he would have been under threat. Of course, keep an eye on that now. Tarzan, an incredible player of the Pantheon, and with that ultimate, he gets that ability to turn up and make a mess of things. You can just kind of be on call right now. Weibo, they don't have flash on Trundle for the next little while. Light doesn't have it either. Those are exploitable targets, which Tarzan has on your screen there. Might just head towards and make an issue of things.
Not sure if Tarzan will be able to pull off this red buff steal. He does have Flandra pushing in the wave, but he's nowhere close to try and start fighting Tien off of the red buff here. They're going to still try and go for this objective, and Tien is now conceding control because he already sees that Kyle has moved from mid lane. There's no way that he can secure the red buff. While we have this opportunity, Alex, I want to see Tarzan's first Grand Starfall be useful, because the past 3 Pantheon appearances in our past 3 series have been dreadful. They have achieved nothing. So I want to see if Tarzan can at least find something good with this Pantheon pick.
Yeah, I think he's like the only person who's been that successful on the Pantheon recently. Might have a fight over this. Pillar will stop Kyle. Does have that flash and ults. Nothing comes of that. But yeah, Tarzan has been our best Pantheon in the region.
Haven't found the use for the first use of that global ultimate yet, but Tarzan has had a lot of control using the power of his laners and the way that they have been able to give him priority and control over the neutral objectives so far. They have not gone for the first dragon of the game, but it's grub time now that we are almost 9 minutes into the game, and doesn't look like Weibo will get a chance to get a single one from the panel.
I mean, Tien just hit level... wait, did you just hit level 6? I thought we saw the level up from that, but his XP is way higher than that, so that's obviously not the case. 3 grubs that go to the side of anyone's legend. I just had a complete blue screen. I don't know why. I was just like, Tien, just hit level 6. Surely that's wrong. I was just completely mistaken. It happens when you're sat here watching so much LPL. You start seeing like the different timelines of the future. It's like our own little mini Dune effect. If you huff enough LPL spice, you start seeing things in weird and wonderful ways.
You have your own time stone, and you're seeing all the alternate timelines in the future.
You know, apparently the navigators from Dune, you know, the people who just kind of like constantly high on spice and then do all the calculations for that. That's what inspired the Astropath navigation for Warhammer 40,000 as well, apparently. Which doesn't surprise me. Most things which are dark sci-fi do come from Dune at some point.
Yeah, because Dune was like the first big sci-fi film of the modern film era, no? Or
the next one's teleporting up here to maybe deal with Breathe. He has flash. Hang on a second. Well, he won't have flash anymore.
Well, sometimes you see the ultimate in the teleport, and as a top laner, you say, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go, guys. You got my flash. You got me."
It's like, wow, you got me. I guess I'll just use the summoner. It's always better to use it and just gonna be done with it than go down elsewhere. Aurora's now teleported onto the bot side of the map. From wave clear, doesn't have that ult, should still be safe. Dragon is available. Of course, you were saying earlier, the early dragon hadn't been started. Anyone's legend instead choosing to go towards the early grubs. Does mean it's still up and available. I think basically Weibo don't want to go towards the dragon, and this is something which I talk about quite a lot on the stream, is that the worst thing about dragon is how much time it takes. With AP junglers being out of the meta that which used to take dragon and grub so quickly, you have to invest farming time into taking something like that dragon, which a scaling team like Weibo doesn't really want to do. They just want to sit in lane, get farm on the Victor, get farm on the Sivir, farm towards the Cull as well. They don't really want to throw things to an early dragon. They'd rather just say, look, we're going to scale up. Let's not waste time on an objective which we could rather be taking minions over.
That's why I love Maokai, man. Bramble Smash is a hell of a drug. Percentage max HP damage on a fairly low cooldown. But unfortunately for them, they went for the Pantheon. While he's great at securing objectives with that execute, it does take a while, as the only max HP damage you're getting is from that W, and that's not a fairly short cooldown. So right now, both junglers are still saying, we don't really care about this dragon right now. We're trying to accelerate and get to our first spikes so that by the time we start fighting each other, we're at our strongest points. And as we take a quick check-in across the board, Rod of Ages is already starting to accumulate here for Xiaohu. Trinity Force locked in for Tien. Sundered Sky for Tarzan. Still waiting on first item spikes for Flandra and Shanks, as both of those solo laners took pit stops either for tier 2 boots or an Executioner's Calling.
And on the other side, Bree's gone for the Bramble Vest too, so he'll be a little delayed on his first spike. You really do need to get towards that try. Hang on a second, here's that first ult of the game. You want it to be useful? Let's see how it goes.
Dive under the tower. Xiaohu's in a world of trouble. The flash away. The Dawning Shadow is not going to save him this time, and that's the feat of warfare picked up for anyone's legend.
Yeah, it's a 3.5 V1 as Hope goes in for the kill on the ultimate. Gets that last hit with the Dawning Shadow. There's not really much Xiaohu could do about that. Could have dropped the ult, I suppose, to do a little bit more, but it felt a little bit futile at that point. Breathe will teleport over, collect the wave which Xiaohu is missing. He'll presumably walk out of base towards topside instead. Anyone's Legend, are they going to go towards Dragon? Nope, they don't want to waste time on that either, I suppose. And Weibo will lose a member, collect a wave, feel a little bit sad about life.
Tarzan, thank you for showing us how and when to use a Grand Starfall.
I appreciate that it's comboed up with Kyle as well, because the special thing about Anyone's Legend is their jungle support combination. Kyle pops that ult and tanks it, so they're at the right timing. There's no safety for Xiaohu. Xiaohu goes up towards topside to farm up that wave. That does leave Anyone's Legend in an angle to contest Dragon, actually. Look, they don't have the Victor. Dragon is going to be taken, though, quickly enough, and Anyone's Legend will not be able to catch Weibo red-handed on the objective.
We got Rift Herald spawning in the next couple of minutes here. Because the first dragon was delayed, at the very earliest, a soul will be spawning in about 15 minutes time, closer to the 28-minute mark. That is a very late soul.
And that's great, because for Weibo anyways, great for them. Do we get a fight around here? No pillar coming through. Always quite hard to tell, actually, when you still have Rel with a bunch of stuff and the Trundle pillar in there too. Weibo have the first dragon. Sol's going to be late. Weibo can just give up dragons now up until you get to 3 items, and maybe they just win through that. Cole's about to cash in. Yes, you are 1,000 gold down on the Senna and the Renekton. That is not a good thing. Anyone's Legend, they have the early game advantage that they need in terms of the actual fighting power. The question is now, how much can Weibo afford to give up and actually survive through to those 3 items?
Shanks are already pressuring on the top side of the map with Kael hovering around just to protect on this turret push. First brick has not been secured yet, which is the next big objective that AL would love to go for, and it would guarantee feats of strength overall completed. And these are the ways that Anyone's Legend need to accelerate the pace of the game, because as we continue stressing before, if the game goes slow and Weibo don't have to give up much and just make minimal sacrifices, the game state is still awesome. So Anyone's Legend, the onus is on them to just find and start taking some risks to force some windows open if Weibo are not giving them clear ones to take.
And they do have the tools to do so. Hang on, level advantage for Tien. How's that ultimate to pull into Tarzan if it gets too spicy? Doesn't choose to. Tarzan trying to secure the Scuttle Crab. And he gets it. He'll get his XP back. Level 10 to level 10. Herald is spawned. Weibo, do you choose to give this one up as well? Giving 3 grubs and a Herald. That one's pretty rough. You're going to lose a huge swathe of the map if Anyone's Legend do manage to take that objective successfully. So Weibo will want to make sure that doesn't go over easily.
Thankfully for Weibo, there are a lot of camps for Tarzan to farm on the bot side of the map. Oh, is he going to look for another Grand Starfall? Yes, he
There's
is!
a camp in bot lane, Rafa! There's a camp!
That's right. Who cares about my blue buff?
Yorick, the extra jungle camp, takes a second ult of the game, gets the center of it onto him too for the extra damage. Breathe flashes, does not save him at all, and this Yorick has just not been useful. Potential counterpunch from Weibo here.
Kael might be forced to flash. He starts with the ultimate first, using the damage reduction just to give himself the resistances necessary to survive the encounter against Weibo. They'll have the opportunity to look for the Rift Herald, but Anyone's Legend have already taken the first brick off the map, and here begins the snowball for the Pandas.
That is a problem for Weibo. There shouldn't be a contest over this. I think this will be dead before the time Anyone's Legend get over here. But Flandre now has an insane advantage. He's got that first turret, they get the feats of strength, he's up 2,000 gold, and I just wonder why this blind pick Yorick was picked. You had the Trundle, perhaps you could have gone towards an Ornn and the Trundle. Yes, the Ornn is, again, a weaker laner in some matchups, right? And the Renekton can give you issues, but at least at that point, I feel like the Trundle Ornn is very, very happy playing through, again, that same scaling win condition. Regardless of the objectives of the Yorick, it has not helped them.
Uh-oh. Immediate flash from Chris for the flip, and Kyle realizes, yeah, I'm screwed in this situation. Doesn't even bother trying to burn his own flash to get out. It's a nice pickup for Weibo just to slow down the game. It's still an overall 3,000 gold advantage for anyone's Legend.
And so much of that is on this top lane. So wherever Flandre is on the map, expect bad things for Weibo, anyone's Legend. Of course, didn't get that Herald, but they still have the 3 grubs, even if they just tap this. Wow, that's a lot of damage.
Holy, he's going in. Tarzan immediately realizes a mistake I have made is too crucial, and now he forced the flash. The follow-up from Chris, this Pantheon, unfortunately, is way too deep, and some of the over-aggressive tendencies from Tarzan early in the split have shown themselves in this game, too.
Hey, his ults have been great. Don't know about that, though. That is not the ult, is it? He tried to hands check Light. If he lands that empowered W under turret before Light can spell shield, he probably does die. However, Light presses the spell shield, outplays him. Tarzan not only dies, but also blows his flash, gives gold over to the scaling team comp. Again, not that anyone's Legend don't have any scaling themselves, but Victor Sivir, you have to mention that when it comes to them. And Weibo, I think they see an angle here now.
Shanks is going to be forced to flash using the Between Worlds just to slow down Tien and put some pressure back down onto the Troll King himself. It's enough that he can actually conserve his Summoner spell, and now Tien doesn't even get a chance to recall safely in the bush, as Kyle is here to escort Shanks back on the wave.
Shanks doing well not to blow the flash there, I suppose, but yeah, anyone's Legend. Their gold lead is in that Renekton. If they play around the Renekton, awesome. We'll see how much he can do to push in a side lane, force Breathe to drop even more farm, or of course drop off that wave and come into a huge fight at some point as well. The Stride Breaker onto the double range carries could be crucial. See right here, again pushed in that bot lane, potentially goes elsewhere. Start up to that dragon. Wait, no, he's not going to start up. What he's doing is making sure his rage stays alive there right now. So we could actually peel off of that. Oh my god, Renekton jungle? Incredible.
Let me tell you about the stories of Renekton. That's for another stream, and maybe when the series is definitively over here. Everyone's Legends still have quite a bit of groundwork to do, and unfortunately for them, that hands check attempt by Tarzan slowed down the game a little too much for their sake. They're gonna have to do a little bit more legwork now to try and continue getting the snowball going. They have yet to break open this mid-tier 1 turret. That is the next target, but Weibo is doing a pretty darn good job of holding the line here.
That was a Sivir ult thrown out pretty easily, though, from Light. Little surprised at that. Fight over the red buff now. These choke points looking pretty tasty, though.
Shanks is waiting around the corner just to see if Weibo Gaming decided to overcommit there, but no one pulls the trigger. As anyone's Legend return back to neutral form here.
Anyone's Legend, walk in, flex the muscles just a little bit. Weibo lose a red buff from that. Don't find really the fight, which I suppose they were looking for with that Sivir ultimate. Unless you're going to be flashing forwards with a Rel, little hard to land engage from Weibo. That is their main engage option. Yes, the Trundle Pillar can stick someone into a plate. It's quite hard to catch people out, especially when you've got, Renekton that can dash over the pillar. Aurora can dash over it 3 times with WE and ult. The only person you can really catch out easily is someone like Tarzan or Kyle when they get stuck into the plate, and you kind of keep them there. Finding over vision in topside jungle now. Is there anything more to come of this? Maybe.
Tien gets knocked up here, has the movement speed. Oh, Xiaohu is forced to flash away. At least preserves his life here, but anyone's Legend starting to overload on the top side right now, as the Otacon did just spawn 30 seconds ago. This will at least guarantee Shanks is able to secure that top tier 1 turret, and further map control is denied from Weibo Gaming, as anyone's Legend now have an angle where they can try and force Breeze's teleport to come out just by starting up the Otacon.
Yeah, now, Otacon is a dangerous objective. This is where games go to die, but is there going to be a realistic contest? I mean, Yorick wants to take the spot side turret. Weibo do like to trade for things like this. They might give up the Otacon and instead get Yorick a little bit more individual gold. They're not going to contest this at all by the looks of it. Anyone's Legend, free Otacon. They'll get a bunch of value. Watch out for those XP leads now as well, because that's going to start exploding as they get the Otacon extra XP from across the map. And anyone's Legend instead will give up bot lane outer turret and a little bit of HP on the mid lane too.
Oh, big fight on the top side, red quadrant jungle. Chris already going in with the Magnet Storm. Teleport comes in, Breathe is in the middle of them all, but between Worlds and Flandra on the flank forces Light to run away. Breathe trying to help out his bottom laner. Good dark procession, but it doesn't matter. Flandra flashes over it and takes out the Sivir. Breathe forced to flash away as well, and Weibo Gaming, they gave up the Otacon, tried to take the fight, and it ends up in disaster.
I really think that is the fight which will lead this game to fall. Weibo were trying to buy as much time as possible, but by giving up so much gold, now this mid lane outer turret as well. The Atacon just before that. Weibo, they have not achieved their goal of reaching 2-3 items on their AD carries and then being able to fight back. Anyone's Legend, better around the map. Invading into bot side, forcing Weibo back. Then invading into top side, forcing them back, taking a turret, taking Atacon. And then punishing Weibo as they try and take re-control of the map. This is a killer move. Flandra gets off a vision, empowered W immediately onto the Victor, cannot stand and fight. There's no peel for him. Weibo were too bold, too lazy, really, at retaking the vision. They had just been forced out of this area of the map. You did not have a free entry in there, and they're punished for it.
And the signature flank pincer angles from anyone's Legend is expressed in full mastery on that top side fight. And from this point on, Alex, it is a 4,000 gold advantage. Yeah, it's not like a huge advantage, but when you look at the tools that anyone's Legend just got for themselves, compounded with that massive win, a lot of summoner spells were burned. The next dragon is coming up. That's not necessarily a Drake win stacking condition that anyone's Legend can accelerate the pace of the game, but my concern is they're getting to the point now where they can just overload on these turrets, they can dive with impunity, and Weibo are running out of options to stop them from doing so.
We can see that there's a 10 stack Rod of Ages on Xiaohu, and he's still a level down on Shanks. That is the power of the Atacon here as well. Flandra does have ult. I don't know if he survives the Trundle ult here, but we'll see.
Kills the wave. The rest of Weibo trying to go for the turret first, but now they fully commit onto Flandra. That's practically 5 members dedicated, even with the Dawning Shadow as well. But Hope at least buys enough time because Tarzan is now coming into the play alongside Kael. Do they have enough damage? He takes out Crisp. Tarzan jumps onto Xiaohu on the left side, flashes away, repositioning. Look at Hope, look at Shanks. They're pushing and playing the map. And as long as anyone's Legend just distract Weibo and keep them dangling here, they're wasting so much time as the Pandas continue to pull and jerk Weibo around the map. Tarzan finally falls, but at what cost?
Weibo get themselves the top lane turret. They get themselves, what, 2 kills out of that, I believe? And they lose just the one themselves. I think this is not that bad for Weibo, given how it comes through. Initially, I was agreeing with you, thinking, well, pushing in two other lanes, that's a good thing for anyone's Legend, but you have just given up, I believe, a shutdown there as well. It's a bit more of an even trade than I think anyone's Legend would have wanted, especially given how powerful they are in this game. Dragon is alive, anyone's Legend, but the respawn of Tarzan and the ultimate available can go towards that as soon as he's back up and available on the map. But also, we've got to check in now on Hope's stacking. Going up towards 70 at this point, it's not bad himself. He's not really been the main character of this game, as he was in the last game on that core keep. What happened here? Was this at the back end of the play? I guess this is how Light ended up blowing... Well, no, we just saw this again. Why are we showing that again? Okay, cool. Right, we've now seen the play twice. Just in case you knew, Tarzan was there. He did some damage. Forced some stuff out of Light. Cool. Nice.
Yeah. I wonder if the official broadcasters were...
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, what happened to Light? Why did he lose so much HP? And that was just...
I prefer to think I'm going insane. Yeah. Sat there just like...
Fair?
Yeah, like, well, yeah. Sometimes we question these things just to have our thoughts out loud. Anyone's Legend will take the dragon. Weibo don't really want anything about this. They're not playing for dragons themselves. They've delayed the dragon's soul until a lot later into the game, so it's not going to be... That's not going to be how they lose the game, going against Assault. They're going to lose the game through, as you were saying, stack up on towers. I think getting forced out of their jungle as well, as we saw in the last few minutes, is obviously a very powerful way for anyone's Legend to play the game. Shanks hopping over walls at the 2.5 item mark with the really, really nasty slow burn build from Aurora. Yeah, one of the fun things about the Aurora, by the way, her combo with this 2 items is very, very strong because she can wait to pull back her Q until the full damage up is stacked from the Leandries and the Riftmaker. It also applies to the base damage from her passive, which is a ton of % HP. Aurora gets some random one-shots with what looks to be an anti-tack build. Yeah.
It's a nice way to respond into Xiaohu, who has opted into a heavy HP build, and considering that the top side of Weibo, not tanks, but they are still very durable bruisers with a lot of health in their overall resources. Now, Weibo still trying to climb back from this deficit. They've slowed down the game as much as they can. They've gotten gold for themselves, but overall, the way that Anyone's Legend has been playing the map, trying to contest them on every single resource that is within Weibo's grasp and trying to continue decelerating the overall gold curve is how Anyone's Legend can guarantee this game is a win for themselves in the books.
Now, Breathe at 2.5 items. Both the carries are at 2.5 items for Weibo too. Looks like it's going to be, I mean, it might be Bloodletters for Xiaohu. We've seen a bit of a flex back and forth between what Victors want to go as a third item. We saw a lot of Liandry's Riftmaker for kind of extended survivability, but I think Bloodletters has been more powerful just in terms of shredding that magic resist and stuff like that. Tarzan off of vision right now, can jump onto the Trundle.
Exhaust, slowing down the Trundle in his path, forced to pop the Subjugate for that HP regen. That's a big ultimate down. He's not going to be as tanky the next time they fight, if it's soon.
Yeah, and there was even a Sivarol pull from Light as well. Light took a chunk, I presume, from Hope jumping onto him or something like that. I say jumping onto him, he'll probably just fire the orbital laser from the rapid fire cannon rage now at this point. Going close towards Mac rounds, spinning up. Wait, did you ever play Halo Wars? Was that a game you played?
Oh, that's the Age of Empires version.
Yeah, it was
right?
the RTS version of Halo. Honestly, there were just a lot of voice lines which were stuck in my head over time. Anyway, you could fire Mac cannons from space, and it was very, very fun gameplay. Baron now on the table, and that is a worry for Weibo. You can give up a lot. You can't really give up a Baron. You're already losing jungle camps because you don't control the map. Baron makes it impossible to control the map after that point. Anyone's Legend, they're not rushing it, but they're holding Weibo accountable, saying, you got to be in this area of the map. You can't let this go down. Triple control ward, though, blacking out this area. 4 control wards. There's 4 control wards. How do they even see anything?
Weibo would have to walk into absolute darkness and just challenge. Kael already punting in Crisp. That is your main engage tool gone. And without the thrill on the hunt here from Light, there's just no way that Weibo can just bulldoze their way through this choke point. Kael and Shanks and Flandre all acting out as the bouncers. As Tien now tries to step up, they're trying to see if they can contest the Baron here. Flandre immediately flashing right on top of Xiaohu. Once again, here's the Grand Star fall. Good night, Light. Good night, Xiaohu. The rest of Weibo Gaming gave their best effort, but their best is simply just not enough against Anyone's Legend at their prime. Breathe will be the last one to fall, and it's an ace for AL at 29 minutes.
There are just worlds of difference between how Anyone's Legend move on the map and Weibo 2. Anyone's Legend have had Weibo playing to the beat of their drum this entire series. Taking jungle camps leads into vision control advantage, leads into stuff like the Baron. This has been, well, I wouldn't say it's a death by 1,000 cuts. It's like being stabbed repeatedly, really. I think that does disservice to the strength of each individual cut. Anyone's Legend looked like they are really, really back on macro form, and that is one of the biggest things that won them their previous LPL splits. You know, at the start of this, you can just see Flandre walking forwards and using the insane advantage he has on the Renekton. Yeah, he got dove early. Remember, folks, he died for first blood. Weibo tried to shut this guy down. Mission unsuccessful. He has completely ran over this game.
I don't know if this is too retrospective, Alex, but when you think about why they went for the Yorick line pick in the first place, like going for the early reset towards the top side, it seemed like maybe that was just the early game plan from Weibo, and they thought, oh, off the merit of this play, it's going to be enough to put this Renekton into the dirt. But the way that Flandre and Tarzan rebounded and capitalized on Light being pushed up on the wave, trying to hold it, and then giving gold back over to Flandre, and they just lost control, it just seemed like Weibo had no other game plan afterwards. Like, okay, guys, we didn't think we'd get this far, and unfortunately, this was not the line that we thought was going to happen.
It's like, we've failed plan A. We will move to plan B. No, we don't have one of those. We don't have plan B. We'll move to whatever comes after this.
Tien now getting jumped on by Tarzan as the Cosmic Spear comes in. Between worlds, just slowing down the opposition. Kael forced the flash, taking up a lot of damage for that turret shot there. The turret does fall. Magnustorm from Chris. Maybe they can try and cook Hope here as Chris flips him. And just the power of this Rel should be enough. No! Hope is still alive and he takes down Chris. It ends up being a trade. But at the end of the day, Weibo have lost too many members to defend the remnants of their base because Shanks, Flandre, and Tarzan are still leading the charge. Tarzan with the battle The Pantheon sings into the skies and allows the heavens to roar down upon Weibo Gaming. The Pandas are backing down, and anyone's legend will close out the series 2-0.
Domination from anyone's legend. Our previous split champions turning up on fine form this week, taking down. Well, folks, you aren't miles off having some proper violence occurring, eh? Knight once again back on the Azir. I'm not gonna lie, it's gotten better over the years. It's still not something I'm necessarily enthused to see him on. While, of course, you heard Alex talking about it, Top Esports have got themselves a pretty mighty skirmish comp there. Those one-item spikes, those level 6 marks, oh boy. That is some nastiness to be seen. Yeah, if you ever get caught out as one of these less mobile champions that can't get out of Cataclysm, things go from bad to worse very quickly. Kanavi going blue buff over to Raptors, taking away something. Kanavi has had some awesome games again recently, folks. Kanavi going to stake away the Raptors completely. BLG just didn't spot it out. They put a ward... what they think he's doing is clearing bot side to top side. They have a ward onto enemy Raptors, but not onto their own. Shadow's pinging out his Raptors. We'll see they're gone, and now he knows he's behind the clear. Top East was getting the best of this. They see him at his Raptors now, but Shadow is down a camp. He will not be able to turn up to Raptors in time to contest that. He's going to have to go through his bots camp. He's going to be a camp down. That's a problem. You're the Shins out. You're meant to be winning these matchups. Very much so. Great pattern there from Kanavi. And again, go watch Game 1 yesterday. And again, they did lose yesterday, it's worth noting. But Game 1 was a textbook in how the hell you snowball a game from jungle. It was remarkable stuff. The two games got a lot closer. Really, they should have won Game 2. But hey, here we are. Invictus Gaming were their usual selves. Just that little bit too... stylish. There's an element of the clutch, an element of the ace in that squad, and they weren't quite ready for it. Need to right some wrongs today. A bit more early oomph, obviously. Not that you've necessarily got their own weaknesses to work with. And then On and Shadow really play a pretty nasty skirmish pairing themselves. Knock up on the blue buff. From that free Talon Strike, I kind of just left it there. Jackie does end up eating a fair amount of chunk, and Jin Nico, the first bit of CC lands, everything follows, gets a bit annoying, and that'll be a reset forced onto Jackie. And I was questioning, you know, why the Nico picked at the point in the draft that it was, because I thought, well, BLG, you could pick up someone like the Alistair there, or you could just not pick support. There are plenty of lane dominant supports, but On has been very good in laning phase on this. I think his engages later into the game have been where I've had more questions. I think that he's been engaging sometimes when there's not that much follow-up from the rest of his team, which, when you think about BLG historically, that was one of their strengths, where they would engage, everyone would have great follow-up, and they'd get these wonderful team fights. I don't think that's been a strength of 2025 BLG in the same way that it has before, and I think that's one of the reasons they haven't been world beaters in a way that they were in 2024. Then on this Ambassador as well, getting chunked up and thrown turret a little by 369 there, but it's not led to too much of a CS advantage or anything as yet. Shadow picking up his second spawn in the Raptors, but is down a couple camps here early. Does mean that realistically Kanavi be hitting that level 6, 10, 20, 30 seconds early on with the not at all suspicious roam up. I am a regular minion. Pay attention to me. Do not actually. Yeah. I am a minion. Pay no attention to the man behind the small minion costume. Ooh, flash forwards. Gonna force a flash out of bin there as Hung goes looking. Can't quite find what he was after. Oh, well, what he does find is a denial of the wave under bot lane turret, which I think is still an important goal. If they manage to kill Bin, That's the sequel to Kill Bill, by the way. Kill Bin. Yeah, you know, it's a crazy movie, I tell you. But if they managed to do that, then of course it would have been slightly better. But he's still losing XP, he's still losing gold. Knight dodges that on the shotgun there. But Bin, he's not feeling happy now. 369, of course. Old teammates of Knight on the other side on JDG. Bin walking, he needs to get some kind of farm, but he's going to get stopped on his way there.
Hex Flash for the Pulverize. Eats a fair amount of damage, not being taken low. How far off 6 are they? Still a bit of a wave to go. 369's going to take a turret shot there, but does have the scrap shields. It's okay-ish. They're holding the wave, and now Bin healing up best he can, but that turret will have depressurized, and they can start to look to jump onto Bin. Headbutt, Pulverize, flag, drag, and a 6-foot hole in the ground for Bin.
Bin is kind of out of the game now, folks. He's been forced off of so much farm. Jackie will, hang on, using the cannon to tank the tower.
They do this all the time. This is the 3rd time in as many Nico games I've seen On do this. It's been brutal. They can't quite get Jackie, though. Nelk ends up able to flash across the captive audience there. Goes Jackie. The wave died on them, unfortunately.
Almost an awesome play, but can't get enough damage down. Jackie ends up surviving without even needing to use his flash on. Still quite low HP here. Doesn't have the flash to follow up. While all that was happening in the bot lane too, it's worth noting that Shadow tried to get a flash player onto Cream, but only managed to get flash for flash. So Shadow was not there to defend bot lane, and didn't get that much out of mid lane. I'm worried here for BLG. I think that Shadow, he's been shut down early. I think that he's been put under a lot of pressure, and I don't think he defended Bin there very well too. He needed to be there on that side of the map, but he wasn't able to do so. On could have also potentially gone to support him. Neither of those things happen, and BLG now have an Ambassador who is down over 10 CS and a kill to 369, who's almost 1,000 gold ahead, not 7 minutes in.
It's not even like it was a camp issue, because as camps were spawning on the bot side of the map, he's just clearing up from them. Oh, there definitely could have been a world where he was there. Doesn't really get all that much for it. They don't get the dragon. Grubs have yet to spawn, so it's all falling apart a little on that front. Cream, clear out that minion wave. Look to drop off vision here.
What's the playback now? What's the playback? That's different. Counterplay. That's the one. Counterpunch. That thingy. Response. Other word, which also would be very useful in this situation, but I, tactically forgot. The tactical vergessen. No, yeah, that's the German word. Vergessen. That's forgetting. Instead of gegessen, which is 8. Like, I just ate a combo there. Gegessen ein Aurora combo. Yeah, German LPL. You, I'd say you heard it here first, but actually, there are other places which have done this before.
I feel like
what was I going to say?
Quite famous at the minute for doing kind of just that.
Yeah, amongst other things. But yeah, BLG, what's the response? Because they cannot really allow the Ambassador to not be a factor. Being down significant amount from where they should be is a problem. Knight is going to have a ton of threat onto him. I don't see how this Azir is going to be able to play very safely.
On does stand the Tangle Ball for the flag and drag through, change the corruption, and that's the combo we were talking about. The Nico dies, can't block out the CC with the clone. Shadow follows, Elk is running, but doesn't have the flash after the failed dive top. Jackie now burns the flash he saved earlier to show Elk how it's supposed to be done. A triple kill to the AD carry of top esports on bot side. Bin gets chunked by 369, but it will lead to nothing else.
BLG banned the Yone instead of the Varus. That Varus just triple killed them, and top esports explode the early game. Bin comprehensively shut down early. BLG pressured out in jungle as well. Shadow has had very little impact. Good combo there from Knight, though.
That's well done across the Veil. Cream goes, but he goes across it a little too permanently, and they will get on the board finally.
Well played there from Knight. His Azir gets a good play. It's not really been his fault this early game. I think Shadow has been butchered by Kanavi early. In their last series, when BLG beat top esports, Shadow also got put behind early by Kanavi, but he was able to soak that pressure and come out and be useful on the other side of it. Not here. They didn't spot out that brush cleanly enough. Shadow walks beyond it, puts himself out of position to frontline. On, obviously, clearly doesn't expect anyone on that brush either. Varus ult lands. Shinzai can't do much here. BLG clearly falling behind the vision control game, and top esports punishing very, very well. But you can see BLG losing control and information. They didn't know anyone was in that brush, and allowed that engage to come through.
I mean, I've also got to give a little bit of credit to top esports for faking it out, selling it so well, because Hung leaves the bushes as if going, oh, I can't be here anymore, too many members. Not, of course, having Kanavi leave. So they don't know that the Jarvan is still in there, and kind of with the retreat of the Alistair, it fakes that bush is now empty. It very much wasn't. Got so much value from it. Now up 1,500 gold. All in some fantastic spaces. See, Jackie loves Varus. Of course, the Rumble still accelerating after that early kill from the dive.
Yeah, I think Top Esports see so many green flags for this game now. They have complete control over jungle support because On is very, very squishy, can't contest vision very well. Shadow's behind the game, and they have playmakers that can dive with Alistar ult like this. Bin, to get another kill onto Bin, this game is so done for BLG.
Chains of Corruption just went wide, but a flash for the Pulverize into the head, but On's going to heal away. Elk now coming on over. Pop Blossom potentially turn things around briefly. The Deadly Flourish just wide.
Oh.
But Kanavi just flashed Cataclysm, says no, not today. Bin now potentially looking to get some turnaround here as a flashing forward from Shadow. Pressing guard down. Kanavi needing to back away, but they are getting some damage back. Public Execute on the backside. 369 also flashing. Has got themselves a blast code. It ends up being the 1-for-1, both supports dying.
Yeah, good response from BLG, quick timing. They have left, though, the 3 grub Aurora on the top side turret. So that's going to be at least 2 plates, maybe even a third, actually, by the time Knight gets in there. Nope, calling me a liar, that. Bin will teleport up to collect the rest of that wave. BLG punch back finally, and that's important. If they didn't get anything out of that play, they would have been losing on both sides of the map. The person who gets the kill, Shadow, and that play was a Shadow. Yeah, it was Shadow, because On got that kill in the mid lane. And Top Esports don't cleanly get the bot side play that they were looking for.
Yeah, and he ended up costing you flash on Kanavi, flash on 369, flash on Hung. They just took a little bit too long. And without the Aurora there, the 4-man collapse from BLG on their beleaguered support ended up with the man advantage in a way I think Top Esports were hoping was not going to be the case.
Now we can flag drag over the wall there, starts that recall. BLG are getting towards their first items now. Shadow has his. He had it a little bit before Kanavi, interestingly, in that fight. He gets it on this back. Actually, I don't think he had it for that fight. I think he got that from the kill, but he had it on that recall. Cutting down the jungle advantage a little bit more. That's important. Shadow cannot take the early game loss and then just fall out of the game with it. That was sometimes a problem with Beitron, where if he fell behind the game, he would just fall into the abyss. Shadow, I think, has been a little bit better at taking an early L and then somehow walking back from it. Not all the time, of course. I don't think it's a hard and fast rule. Especially against Kanavi, it's going to happen a fair amount. That's one of the things about playing against Kanavi.
Yeah, and again, like when he was on FBX and before that, one of the criticisms we did have of Shadow was that sometimes when things did go wrong, he kind of felt obligated to play his way back into the game. I just feel like on BLG, on the whole, he has been a little bit more measured and hasn't necessarily thrown the kitchen sink at people and then realised maybe that has left me with very little to do in the rest of the game.
Dragon started. Garden, not always the fastest at taking dragons, but can help an AD carry take it a little bit quicker too. I do think this is an underrated thing about taking jungle camps. If you're a Sejuani, you're slow at taking things by yourself. If you have a melee with you, Sejuani is actually one of the fastest dragon killers in the game. If you have like a Yone with you or something. Knight around the on this bot side turret. On will potentially spot Hung out here. See, the top piece was constantly threatening this bot lane dive. BLG didn't defend it well at the first time of asking around Bin. The second and now the third times here, they've done well to have someone in position to protect the dive.
What you're telling me, Alex,
Yeah.
is that we should start having inverted funnel. Or you have like a brawl mid or something to come follow a Sejuani to speed up her clear through the jungle.
That, I'm pretty sure that was sort of a thing before, actually, at some point. Remember when Braum would actually... Remember Season 4 lane swaps and Season 5 lane swaps. Yeah, we would actually have, like, Braum double jungling, sweep back onto 369, no flash.
We'll put down the Equalizer on the wave, kind of knows he's dead, so he's trying to take as many minions with him as he can, and we'll get the majority of them. Not the cannon, though, sadly for him.
And Knight, 2 good sweepbacks now. 1-0-1, gets plays onto Flashless solo laners, first onto Cream, then onto 369. Knight's Azir. These plays have been working out pretty well for him. The question is, can he cleanly teamfight later? It's a hard game for him to do so, but he will get value there. Sadly, for BLG, and positively for Top Esports, they have the 3 grubs. They will cross-map. Yes, they lose 1 kill onto the Rumble, but they get the first turret on top side, giving them the Freets of Strength.
Yeah, and 369 did basically knew he was dead and just cleared the way, prevented any really easy follow-up, and...
Also, I lied. They had the feats of strength before that anyway, but they would have had it again if they needed it.
Even more
from the first turret. Yeah, they have
feats of strengthiness.
Yeah,
premium
feats of might. This just sounds like all of those Clash of Clans kind of.
I never played Clash of Clans.
Yeah, me neither, Sam. But have you heard of Honor of Clash of Kings of Legends versus Zombies?
Raid Legends.
Raid Legends.
Yeah.
Subscribe now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any follow-up. That's the best bit I've had for this game.
That was the bet we had. That was the best we had.
Yeah, that's the best we've got.
How was last series, Al?
It was really dominant, Sam. I'm not going to lie. All I did was sit there thinking, well, Weibo are going to cross-map. Well, they've not done that much on the cross-map, and they've lost the big team play. I think The thing which is setting apart Weibo from a team like BLG, Top Esports, IG, or anyone's Legend is they're just not good enough team fighters to hang with the best of them right now.
Sort of see why potentially those discussions about, rumors about Light potentially being trialed for replacement. And wait, when it's helping your AD carry who's asked to be your big team fight.
Look, I'm just going to say this. If you're going to trial him out with someone like Assume, who's apparently rumored for that, why wouldn't you try someone like 1xN instead? I think that guy, take a gamble on 1xN. I don't think it's even much of a gamble. I think that guy's fantastic.
It's got maybe a question about contracts.
Yeah, eventually, but, you know, throw some money at the issue tends to solve things. Depends how serious you are at actually making a world push.
Yeah, very true.
Cream will spot out the clone of On there, switched over to the Ignite. Well, it's not quite the 20-minute BLG throw time just yet. Got a few minutes until that comes.
I feel like from 15 minutes, though, the percentage chance starts rising. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it does, in fact, get you closer towards that 20-minute mark. Maybe that's just the nucleus of it.
Yeah.
But 20 to 25 minutes, just something goes horribly wrong for BLG. We said it before, BLG, in the last week, has stood for bad late game. Carrot's going to take an electrocute proc. Carrot's going to go into mid lane before killing the turret.
Trying to dive forward, quite got what he was looking for though, was a really good hop, denies it, chains of corruption land, and unfortunately, Battle Herald, let's go! That's not quite a chicken jockey, it's a bit bigger and a bit nastier. Flag and drag fell over the wall, but Hug will flash and say, no, you don't get to go, stay here. Headbutt, pulverize, equalizer, and it's roast chicken for dinner.
What is Shadow doing standing there? Takes all of his HP bar before he can mount any sort of comeback. And BLG's jungler has had a poor week at work. Top Esports, a great punish from them. Hung going forwards for aggressive combos, comboing onto the Varus, who's already so strong. Showcases exactly how strong Top Esports are from a lead as well. They got a ton of comfort this game first. Hung, comfortable on the Alistair. Varus, incredible for Jackalove. Bin going in.
The Deadly First is just wide. 369 might die here. He's caught in the Cataclysm with everyone else. He's got a Hex Drinker. Not bad from Bin. Hang on, what about the slow? On's now here as well. Kanavi may be in danger. Does get rooted up briefly mid-flag and drag, but it buffers it well enough, and Bin gets the 1 and the 1v2.
Does, but still dies, which means he's missing another wave. I'm getting quite worried for the amount of waves he's losing, but I suppose Rumble on the other side is losing some as well. Shadow makes a big mistake. 1, taking the chunk there, then 2, jumping out here. That is just not the right position. Shadow's had a bad game so far, and he's had a pretty bad week. He was fairly poor versus anyone's Legend into the late game. And even versus Weibo, there were moments where I was questioning if he was just getting straight out valued by TN. What happened there is that when you cast EQ on Jarvan, it will always cast basically like bounce at max range. But if you're knocked back, then it will bring you out of your Q range. He was just a little short there. He couldn't get over the wall anyways, just trying his luck. Whatever, right?
I will also note, do you know what Shadow Audacious charged to in that replay?
Was it a minion?
It was a Might, not the champion. He did it. He tried to get onto Knafi and did it onto a Might.
How intriguing. Dragon now spawned for Top Esports. And that'll be third for them. Will be towards the Ocean Salt. BLG trading. Yeah, I think they realize that they are really quite far behind in this game strategically, right? They have a composition which is pretty good if they play around, you know, their own pick combo and the Shinzao from a point of power. The Shinzao is not powerful. The Azir basically cannot teamfight versus this top side. The Varus is ridiculously strong too. BLG, they're preying on missteps from Top Esports and for them to give over free kills which open up better opportunities.
Ben and Shadow just hanging around. That's not a bad start. In comes the public execution. 369 will go golden and throw down the equalizer. But it's largely well buffered through. There is no flash available. Redemption buys some time. But a wonderful Crescent Guard denies Kanavi's entrance to the play. Deadly Flourish will root up Kanavi, but there is no follow-up. A minute until Atakar means unlikely any chance to come and contest that. I will note also in the replay, the Ocean Dragon did go down, so Top Esports are at soul point.
So as Dragon for top lane outer turret, Knight got some gold from that to fuel him through to his next item. You can see that Bin's Ambessa has really leveled up across this year. If you go back to Bin's first few Ambessa games of the year, even as much into last split, he was really struggling on the champion to the point where we're saying, look, he probably just shouldn't be playing this. Credit to him, he's leveled it up a lot. Great ult there, not assisted by anything. Just hits it onto the flashless Rumble. And even though he's been shut down in this game, he's making an impact. I've been impressed with Bin's Rumble more and more as the year's gone on. Varus is coming down. This is probably a dead Ambessa, by the way. Varus is here.
Oh, the moment we started praising him, there's the exhaust after headbutt into the wall, chains of corruption, repudiation shield buys some time. Now 369 is here. Is he going to be donated to kill or at least an assist? That's not bad damage back, Ben. Oh. But it's still not enough to keep himself alive. 1 and 3 now.
Yeah, if he hadn't been killed like 3 times on a side lane, he probably would have had real threat there. Can't quite do so in that moment, though, and BLG will lose their top laner yet again. Top Esports have really dunked down on Bin.
Literally the moment we go, and that was a nice play, good work on him. This ambassador's definitely improved over the split. The moment we say it, that kind of scene happens. It's almost like the observers or the gods of League of Legends are listening to us.
Do you think they stay in the heavens in fear of what they've created?
What are the heavens? My HQ?
Probably. I can't believe that Spy Kids 3 have one of the greatest philosophical lines. Like, do you think God stays in heaven, afraid to come down to earth in fear of what he's created? Like,
Is that actually from that originally?
Yes, it's from Spy Kids 3.
I thought that was from something significantly more artistic.
It's Steve Buscemi in Spy Kids 3. Sam.
Unbelievable.
Occasionally you get some really good philosophical lines dropped in like a kid show or something.
Spy Kids was a great series. I enjoyed that a lot.
It's very good. It was kind of like just before CGI became too much of a gimmick, but enough. Well, okay, it was a gimmick, but like just before it became such of a expensive thing to do that you could do it kind of fairly cheaply, but for fun, regular effect.
Do you remember when you used to rent it from Blockbuster or whatever?
Yeah.
It came with the 3D glasses in the DVD cover with the red and green lenses. We have, in fact, however, got Artican to talk about.
Hung was using the Nimbus Cloak move speed from the teleport after to walk menacingly at them. On has this ghost pops. He has flash and heal, which are better summons for the actual fight itself. BLG, please do not leash this. I've seen BLG lose one too many games from an intercom.
I'm a minion.
That's wonderful, Sam. He's taking a ton of damage.
I'm a minion.
Reminder, folks, that if you hide as a minion and you get smoked, you do take the full damage of the spike. Green, looking for the shotgun, not getting in range of anyone just yet.
Turns into a bird instead. Maybe he'll start making some more cooing noises. Speaking of chicken, by the way, you know there's a BBQ Oliver's now in Berlin.
No.
Yeah.
We must go.
Shout out to Law for sharing that one,
That's
by the way.
fantastic. That's going to get damaged pretty heavily there by Knight. Knight level 13, a little bit behind in terms of XP, in terms of Cream. He's had a lot more free time on sidelines. Top Esports are dying so many waves across the map, has led to some decent XP advantages to the side. Obviously, Top Esports in general. If BLG were to get Atacon, that would be something which would have worked a little bit more in their favor. BLG not really able to do much around this Atacon. It's going to slow down, surround it, looking for bits and pieces of poke. But when you've got a 4-kill Varus at 2 items, who wins those poke battles?
Eye's now done for Knight. Bin's been chunked a little bit. Shadow not looking for potential angle here. It's got a 3 Talon Strike, can't interrupt as Cream is forced to between worlds to get out of danger though.
Yes, but Shadow takes a lot of damage. The Honey Fruit will help him a little bit. The Aurora ult is down, doesn't have something like a Malignance. It's not a high cooldown reduction build, doesn't have something like the cooldown boots either. 30 seconds till Dragon now. This dance has gone on so long, we're going to have another objective spawn.
Yeah.
Feats of Strength actually coming in from Cream as he upgrades the boots with them. BLG finally leave the bot side of the map alone for a little bit, trying to get the red buff onto Shadow right now. If they can get onto Knight too, it does apply on his ear soldiers. They could potentially give it to him. In fact, I'd quite like to see them do that. Instead, BLG have left the bot side of the map to get that red buff, and that potentially leaves Atacon started.
Better, interestingly, for a bit more sticking power.
I think you should give it to the Azir. I guess he has Rylai's. Do you know what? He has Rylai's. That's not a problem. Give it to the Ambassador. Sure, why not? Atacon was leashed. Dragon has spawned. Now both objectives on the bottom side of the map as BLG need to find a way to survive this giant combo from the top side of Top Esports.
He goes on in, flashes out immediately as the Deadly Flourish was threatened, so Kanavi down a key summoner. He's lost about half his HP bar. Hung also chunked out.
Yeah, but Knight did flash. Flash for flash between jungle of Top Esports, mid lane of BLG. Knight was caught out a little far there. Dragon's getting lower and lower. BLG need to be afraid of the big engage though. The ultimates are coming up from Creep.
He'll burn to heal, but there's going to turn that around as the pop loss on the backline. Trying to find the angle. They've lost all the Cataclysm. Turn around. Shadow burning low, not quite down. Force Knight with a wonderful shuffle, but unfortunately he dies to do it. 369 the golden barbecue. Elk flashing, can't get the kills. Shadow and Bin try, but it is to no avail. They're in the namesake, binned by Top Esports.
BLG too far behind. Top Esports too much damage, and an Ocean Soul goes their way at 24 minutes. BLG find their end in this painful timestamp, anywhere between 20 and 25 minutes. Something goes wrong for this team. Top Esports controlling the flow of the game for the grand majority of it. Top Esports playing around this Varus so well. Why did BLG ban Yone and not Varus?
Have a look at the replay. I thought the Pop Blossom was amazing. I thought the Shuffle was amazing, and none of it matters. 4-man Pop Blossom and all the carries. Still not enough.
Because as they go in, Kanavi gets a counterpunch. He manages to get a double knock-up, a dunk onto it. Elk doesn't do that much damage. And Knight, it's a good sweep from him, but it doesn't have quite enough oomph behind it. Again, I don't think Knight's been the problem on the Azir. It's just been that BLG are so far behind. The Ambessa doesn't have 1,000 gold lead because they've died 3 times on the side lane. Now, this Varus is doing way more damage than he should be because he's got 6 kills now too. Top East was given way too much gold in the early game, and BLG must stop that for future games in this series. If they are to come away with a victory, Top East was... The early game has been magnificent versus BLG.
Insane fight from Queen, by the way. I kind of slipped me by a little bit. He managed to dodge out of nearly everything, managed to shock on multiple people. Hung, flashing over for the headbutt pulverize. Public execution does go wide, but it was allowed to buffering through the CC. Still gonna be a death of Shadow though. TPing in is Knight, but not in time to save the jungler.
Yeah, hang on, that's a lot of damage onto Hung actually. Wow.
Ow. Redemption heal, 1 shot lands. Does have an Ocean Soul, and 369 should body block it. Interrupted his Elk by a lot of damage and can't finish up what the bullet started on. Cataclysm, the exhaust comes on down. He tries to throw down a Pop Blossom, but just gets popped in turn. Cream goes on forwards for the 2-fold Hex. Can't quite find it though.
Not gonna lie, folks, this game is a hell of a jungle support diff. On is 1 and 5. Shadow, 2 and 4. Top Esports jungle support have been really doing damage. Knight has to play very... hang on a second, Hung's over the wall.
There we quiet it, Howl for hunting season. That is a big old moo-moo as he'll come across the back end of it and find a headbutt pulverize onto the Azir.
Awesome flank from Hung. Gets a great pick out of the fog of war. BLG were forced to approach from a point of vision denial from Top Esports. Baron will go over to them. They have that Ocean Soul already, and BLG, they're running for the hills at this point. They are in a very desperate scenario.
Na'Vi empowers some minions, but won't find anything else aside from that for now. But they don't need to. They can reset. They can look to shove some waves. And at this point, they're 5,000 gold ahead with an Ocean Soul. And BLG, they're just struggling to have anyone go forward without melting.
BLG just have not been able to, they were not able to stabilize from that early game. They had one good skirmish to see off that bot lane play, turn into a 1-for-1, but they don't have that huge punch because the Ambassador was shut down. The Shinzao's provided very little value in this game, and Shadow's been misplaying quite heavily. It's a shame because I think Shadow, his entry into this roster was really good. He has been manhandled this game, and he's been struggling to make plays from behind.
Look, we said on the whole, he had shed a fair amount of the issues that have plagued him when things like the X have gone wrong. Teams before that saying, look, when things don't go well, when he does overplay things, it just kind of, he doubles down on it a bit. And sometimes you just wonder the last few days, like, actually, some of those old traits of Shadow just rearing their heads again a little.
But you know, on the positive side, IG just made an announcement that JJ is now left the team. JJ is available. BLG wants to know your location. Shadow blowing the out again because he's hit by a Varus ult. I really think Jaculov is one of the best poke Varus players in the world. He has been so good on this pick. 706, incredible damage. Hasn't died once despite Bin's best efforts.
And on the other side of this, right, like who on earth tanks up a Varus ult this game from the side of BLG? It probably is Shadow. He's the only one who can do something like Crescent Guard. Everyone else cries quite a lot about being hit. In they go with the equalizer, and goodbye on is absolutely eviscerated. Cream adds him to his dessert over the wall with the Between Worlds. Pull back on the 2-fold Hex.
Top Esports delete the jungle support of BLG, who have had a horrid game one. Top Esports control from beginning to end. The Varus, which should have never been let through draft, punishes BLG. Kanavi leading the charge from start to end.
Na'Vi leads the charge. He has not been involved in only a single kill this game. Bin now in danger. In fact, this might be the next one, but Bin is going to be left alive under his tier 3. Kanavi steps on forward with the Martial Cadence, but the Nexus turrets are a far more valuable prize at this point, and Top Esports will get Pop Blossom one more time, but 369 says, unreal. Knight fails the shuffle. Hung will headbutt pulverize him to death on his own damn fountain. And BLG are smashed in game. Billy Gaming, the lights have been blaring in our eyes. Blazing is perhaps the better one. They don't make noises so much. But to the Rift we go, where the crowd certainly will be making some noise. Some Gyro is coming your way. Not too much here happening post Giles. Want to look at Kanavi. Mantra Q was thrown. But all in all, bit of a heal burn from Hunk. Try and get some trade on here early. What that leads to. Dunk on tonight as Cream and that Victor trade out pretty aggressively there in the early game. The health bars burned as the spells have been swung. Mabby, I'm guessing you're not a massive fan of the Trundle into the Zed. We've basically seen it that the Zed manages Trundle okay because the pillar means nothing. And you can still do quite a lot of poke with the shurikens. Yes, the attack speed chomp is annoying. But you have enough ways to get past Trundle that he can't stick on you super well. Theoretically, though a flash on in here in the mid lane as easy kills onto Cream. Wow, wow, wow. Frozen Domain and a flash, and Cream just says, yeah, I'm not going to get out of this. Eats the first kill that's donated tonight. I'm gonna get chunked a little there. Of course, because of that play in mid flash down, delay the clear a bit here. Zed can probably double scuttle this. Will immediately, I suspect, reset, go bot. Look to fight Trundle with the double longsword advantage. Trundle not having the flash. Zed could dance around that quite well. While bot side, though, has been forced to back. It's interesting. Shadow about to face check this one. Will throw down the ward. Nice chunk from Kanavi. Gets a lot of value onto Shadow. Flash over the wall. Gets more with the Shadow slash. Shadow, I think, is just dead. Nice kill. Shield from Karma is good, but it comes on. Grand Entrance gets the kill. Root onto that Zed, who's now in danger. Up against another with the red buff, with the passive. Flash for the start for the Disintegrate, and they get 3. That is nice. Kanavi starts the game 2-1. They burn all the summoners bot, and despite Shadow finding the early gank through mid, it revealed where he was. And Kanavi resets with a double longsword, and a flashless Trundle gets run down the river.
BLG, their early games are too easy to read. There is something of a crime you can commit within League of Legends, and it's one of the worst you can do, and that is being predictable. BLG, their early jungle support play has been lacking. Kanavi comes in with a red buff where Shadow doesn't have it. As you said, he has no flash. Conqueror starts getting stacked up. Red buff keeps him in play, and Kanavi just keeps going and going. Yes, you do run into the Zyra Rakan, the Ezreal Karma with the Zyra Rakan at your back, but Kanavi has so much Conqueror damage going already. He gets a crazy amount of damage down.
That's a good kill mid, though. A return of the favor again. That's that level 1 gank coming back to play. As Kanavi potentially in danger, but hung with a good body block there.
Well
Keeps
played.
Kanavi in one piece.
Gets both these shields, gets the Q. Cream does die, and it's a kill over towards, an assist over towards Knight. Shadow, I believe, gets that kill. All in all, that's something back. Remember, BLG picked towards the early lanes. The fact that they did give up those early kills is a problem. However, you do look at those lanes. 600 gold in mid lane, 500 gold in bot lane, 500 in top lane as well. Top esports have the flash of the early, the flashiness of the early jungle advantage, but still some threat there.
Ooh, passive auto gets that one in one piece. Hung now looking for potential angle. Remember,
No flash on Karma.
doesn't have a flash. I think that's just a dead Karma. We'll get a decent root, but Kanavi eviscerates him with the double Shadow Slash.
And that is a problem. Worth noting, Zed jungle often goes towards, you get your free boots as secondary a lot of the time. He's getting very close towards them. But also even just on your precision runes, you get something like Legend Haste or something like that. Which means that he's got a lot of stacks of that early, actually. An extra 4 of them. You only get, like, what, 10 max or so? Something like that. Kanavi is so goddamn fed. And I don't see anyone on BLG who is immune to Zed plays it. You don't have great CC. Now, what we have seen in the past, and I believe Kanavi was the one who fell short to this against Tarzan, actually, was when he played that Zed into him, I believe at the end of last split. One of the things we noticed was, if you use your Shadow aggressively, a Trundle pillar can still kill you.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have your Shadow to go back over the pillars. You need to be very wise about how you're using that ability.
Because again, like a Zed in melee of a Trundle is still a Zed in melee of a Trundle. You get chomped, you lose all your AD, and Trundle wins pretty much every duelist matchup right now. If he's on top of you, you're having a bad time. The joy of the Zed is you can sort of dash in, get a lot of damage, you've got more poke, you just have to be quite astute about when you go forwards. 369 with this proxy though, is potentially allowing Zed to go and have a look for some of these camps. Going to start up on the blue buff, smite early to get the passive rolling, and should be able to pick that one up. No, Bin's here.
Level 6. He has level 6.
Available. All out. Goes on forwards. The Shadow Slash again. Bin has decided to burn the dominance, but Cream is here. A pullback on the Untopo strikes. 369 going on forwards. A decent stun with the Ruthless Predator. But there's a death mark. And those Crocodile. It's Boots.
Kanavi saves the ult for so long. Basically, 369 hits so much stuff onto Bin. Kanavi goes, oh, well, I may as well get another one. Remember, this is a flashless Karma. Gets rooted up there, no kill onto him, but still some threat. BLG, they're getting ran about mechanically by Top Esports. Pretty much, their early game plans have just been read by Top Esports. The entirety of this series, Kanavi has been a man unleashed. I think Hung has been playing very, very well too. A player who, again, we keep saying this every time he's showing up. We thought his career might be over this year. He was playing that poorly, but oh my god, Hung has been so good in this series. MVP in Game 1, fantastic player on the Rakan here in Game 2 as well.
It looked pretty great there so far. And it's worth noting, of course, as actually Kanavi may need to be a bit careful here. He's on a ward. Well, he's slowed down by the Mantra Q. Will shadow out. It should be fine. But the red buff, blue buff rather, is potentially stolen.
This is the problem. They have no CC. Now, he might be forced to flash here. That was too far, Kanavi. But that is the best they have. They have a Karma W and a Pillar. That is it. Kanavi is punished that. Does have a crazy amount of power, but can't exactly go into a 1v3. BLG at least managed to get away that summoner from Kanavi.
Get the blue buff as well, and the Zed without the flash, making aggressive plays with the shadows as Kanavi has been. He's still only got an Eclipse, he can still die. The problem is, of course, because he is so fed, pretty much everyone is at risk from a death mark. Not much getting away from that one. Jackie low on mana here, and is down quite a lot in terms of the lane right now. 15 or so CS, the early pressure, the early reset has been a little difficult at the very least for us to assist, but Elkanon have always been very good Ezreal Karma specialists, and they're getting value out of the lane at the very least in that individual moment. It's 369. Bullying been around here a little bit on this K'Sante now.
Yeah, Elksreal is a thing. He is pretty damn good on that champion, and the Ezreal Karma getting the early laning lead, losing that skirmish early and dying to Kanavi. It has rocked the win condition. BLG should have been able to play through winning lanes. They're even, and actually behind in gold. Why, that Knight doesn't have flash. This is under threat. Hitsu now.
And to the backline they go. Decent knock up. The stun's good. Knight should just be able to run away. They don't quite have enough burst at this point. It's only an amp tone, really, an inventory for damage from Green.
Knight's actually running the phase rush as well, which I didn't realize. Often he would be running the damage stuff. It allows him to walk out safely. That does lose that. Does lose that ultimate though. Kanavi gets 3 grubs. He's had a decent amount of CS. He's got Krugs to take still anyway. He's very, very happy. 369 did just dash forward. He might be dead there actually. No, Kanavi, Shadow rather, heading back down the river instead.
Hung actually in danger. Will battle dance into the grand entrance into the battle dance. I do apologize. Get those skills the right order. Shadow now rooted though. Reminder, does have to burn the flash. Dominance pop from Bin. Flash to 369. Look for the W. Will then get over the wall as Kanavi looking in for a 1v3. But it's left the rest of the team split off. Elk having a flash, but he can't flash for enough. Surely the Arcane Shift does get him out to safety.
Elk survives, but Top Esports blowing so many flashes is a huge issue for BLG. Top Esports can use their flashes quite liberally because there's not that much CC which kills them if they don't have that. On the other side, BLG, if they don't have flashes, how do you escape a Zed jumping on you? How do you survive someone like Annie walking at you aggressively? And of course, the Rakan looking for knockups as well. Top Esports, by blowing those summoners, are removing BLG's ability to survive their next play.
Very much so. Thornmail now done from 369 as well, because at least early on, most of this damage is going to be AD. Kanavi is 2k ahead of basically anyone else in the game right now. That is remarkable. Okay, more like 1,500 gold, but still, that is like 30% more gold than pretty much everyone else. And all of this starts off what looked like a fantastic play from Shadow. Level 3, ganks mid, doesn't basically throws down a frozen domain, flash chomp, kill on screen, keeps going. But it slows down clear enough into a Zed of all champions that Zed knows exactly where he's going to be. Bot side skirmish happens, Navi gets fed, and the early laning leads were good from BLG, have now amounted to not very much because, as you noted, really the way they won this game was lane priority into full court press because their CC is, on the whole, pretty damn limited.
I'm very impressed with Top Esports' early game. I think their early games have been really, really cool to watch, honestly. I've been a big fan of them.
And a reminder, back to winter, that's what we were really loving about Top Esports. The early game snowballs were fantastic. Hung, flash engaged with the quickness. Remember, On has no flash. We'll get a renewal down, but there's a death mark waiting. And On, unfortunately for you, that sentence will not be abstained. Gonna try and find the engage onto Shadow. Looking for a bit more. The frozen domain is in. TP's in from Knight. Hung might also be in danger. We'll try and battle dance out. Breaks the tether. And Cream can keep looking. He's got a molten shield. And that ability to potentially get a stun as Jackie Love in danger. As the Dominus, the slice, the dice. He's still gonna flash, still gonna barrier. Needs to be wary about burning that barrier. It's not the best angle there for the feathers. Then won't want to go any further because he doesn't have the flash quite yet. Just about coming off cooldown shortly, I believe. And indeed is now up, but Jackie's going to have to reset Bin. Gets himself an ultimate, but not too much more. Jackie holds his nerve.
Yeah, Bin still getting push in this top side. Doesn't have the grubs to do that much with it. 369 will be able to walk up here. It'll be a plate from the Demolish. That's not that bad, but Top Esports, they have blunted the early game of BLG. They needed laning leads, and they have some of them. I just don't think it's enough for the composition they need. But on trying to use the limited CC they have, someone needs to walk over and give him an E-target. Someone needs to walk over here.
There we go, just back in range. There's the stun timed up. Jackie also coming on over. Another stun available potentially onto Creve. Battle Dance Part 2, turning it around. Frozen Domain is there, and the shields from Karma allow BLG to reset, but they can't get towards that Rakan in time.
This is why they needed those early leads. They do not have CC to play from even or behind. Top Esports have so much ability to play through like their own kind of skirmishes, right? This Rakan basically never going to be caught. No one's going to stop them. No one's going to stop this 6-kill Zed. BLG, their drafting today has been poor.
I will also say again, this is a game where a Zed with this kind of lead, for all that Faker is saying, the game has gotten harder to solo carry. Kanavi can solo carry this at this point. Anybody will die to the Zed. He's the same level as Knight with a lot more scariness in his inventory. Down comes the Arcane Storm. Hung will make it. A quickness, a flash on top of the Rakan. Battle Dance out will be traded back, but 369 finds a solo kill on Bin.
Bin is solo killed by his old rival 369. Regards from that era of BLG versus JDG. 369 Kasante turns up to play. Top Esports will push into multiple lanes. Now Jackie Love does have to deal with the Trundle walking at him.
Does get chomped. There's the pillar. Flash has got a barrier, but on the other side goes Shadow. I think he's just dead, and Jackie goes, okay, at this point, I'm done.
That's a good punishment there. However, still Plate went in there. A Plate's going to go down in top lane and bot lane. Top Esports pushing in all 3 lanes at once. BLG can't stop the pushing all of them. They get something in mid lane, lose bot lane, and they're going to lose most of top lane too.
Yeah, they are. Again, Zed with 3 grubs. He might be a jungler, can still do quite a lot of work. Shadow trying to do the same on the Trundle, and should be able to get the mid-tier 1, which is valuable.
That is. No, that is a good response. In terms of what they can actually do there, it's pretty good. Mid lane outer turret, never a bad thing to get. The most important turret in the game in many ways. So what the hell happened here? Hit by a long range Q3, walks up, trades with the tower and the grass, shield bash in there as well. I'm going to imagine he just hits a load of other skill shots. What happens here? W's him out, gets that ult, and then just gets the W reset as well. Bin tries to flash away, not nearly enough. 369 punishes a greedy overstay for the wave.
By the way, speaking of greed, Kanavi's greed has paid off. 7-1 has just finished his 2nd item. That is a Black Cleaver done on Zed.
Oh dear. Now, a lot of the time, you can go towards something like a Hubris 2nd item, which is really nasty, but Black Cleaver is so good into the likes of, you know, the Renekton and the Trundle. The amount of cooldown reduction you get, the movement speed also to chase people down when you start hitting people with the cleave on it as well, the rage passive effectively. I mean, Kanavi, we haven't seen him kill too many people recently because he did all of that early on, is in such a brilliant point of power.
Yeah, about 1,500 to 2,000 gold now are Top Esports. The majority of it, in no surprise, is on Kanavi Zed, who is going to force a heal off on. Nice Shadow back to avoid the Mantra Q. Does end up getting chunked, though, by that Hextech Ray and the True Shot Barrage. Kanavi now at about half. Needs to be a bit wary. The Subject Gates come on down on top of him as well. Do they really want to play for this Herald? I think they're going to try and steal it with the Shurikens. 369 around is rooted up by the side of that Karma, courtesy of a focused resolve. Battle Dance out on Top Esports just have to give up the contest. Now the Bottle Rocket comes up, and that pillar of Soda will not turn into a Mentos Rocket.
Not quite fizzed up enough to do that. Bin will take the top lane out of turn. BLG claims some gold back. Who's teleporting in? That's the Annie. Not able to do much except claim a wave, I suppose. Hang on a second. Kanavi, does he feel like he has? I mean, he has Deathmark. He has Eclipse. Too.
Yeah,
here comes Hung. That's probably a dead Renekton. Wow.
Nice. Shadow slash Shuriken gets the kill, and Hung and Kanavi as a pair have been so terrifying. They're so mobile.
This should have been a Hubris game from Kanavi, actually. This should have been a Hubris. Think about how many freaking stacks he'd have at this point. Pushing him towards the top lane out of turret. They'll answer tit for tat. in the turrets there. Remember, there's still a death
he's
mark.
dead. He's dead. He's not going to need to burn the ult. He just autos him.
He just kills it with the red buff for the Conqueror and just some basic auto attacks. Kanavi slaughters on with the double shuriken. Kanavi making it look like a solo queue montage.
Contempt for the Weak is a hell of a passive. Knight will now be able to get the turret on the other side. And in fairness to BLG, they are at least getting these structures. Top Esports still feeling very pleased about the state of the game right now. Even if BLG with that structure gold are staying within something resembling touching distance. They're only about 2,000 gold behind.
Cream has been someone who's, of course, had a little less success in this game. I don't think that's important, though. You can just be a CC bot when your teammates are this fed. That's actually not a problem here. Elk does have flash, and he has E as well. A little bit of damage coming back. He's got the 2 item spike just in the next base. Shame we won't have that from the next dragon. On still has flash. Eclipse does so much work.
It does. The swoon is always a possibility. See a little anti-heal mark there. Does Zed get anti-heal in his kit?
No, he doesn't. Luckily, he has a great deal of other things, Sam, but not that.
I saw that little heart turn up by Karma saying she had anti-heal up. I'm trying to figure out from where. Oh, it's the red buff, possibly.
Red buff doesn't give you that either.
No.
What it will be is the armor down from Black Cleaver.
That's the mark I'm seeing. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Why am I seeing an anti-heal mark? It
No,
wasn't an anti-heal mark.
Yeah, you do get that from Black Cleaver. It also shows up on Wukong's Q and
It
stuff
does.
like that.
You're right. That would make a lot more sense. I just misread the symbol.
Zed has some strange stuff in his kit, which has changed over time. You know, his W used to give him AP scaling bonus AD. Good chunk there onto On. Still has that flash. If On isn't full HP, he basically can't be CC.
Gets into the Herald, battle dance away. Kanavi still waiting. Does get knocked up here, but actually, where is On going?
On?
Double knock.
What are you doing?
Still driving.
Where is he going?
Oh, Jackie the other side. Kanavi now going to have the in the backside of El could just get that kill onto the Ezreal. Shadow in the frozen domain. The turnaround for BLG not bad. On gets how many knockups?
More than enough somehow.
I don't know what to do about that one. Featherpool comes on through. Hung might be in danger here. We need to get over the wall. Oh! And gets blasted by a Siphon Power.
How did On just do that? Bin, this is a huge play. BLG, this is the play they're looking for.
Oh, that's beautiful. Kanavi about to get rooted. Tries to flash. No Shadow. They're going to get everyone. Wait, Kanavi with the shield. Doing a fair amount of work. Will finally fall. But they get nearly an ace.
No chance for Kanavi at the end of that play. BLG, through the most ridiculous of Herald plays, clean up Top Esports and get themselves into a gold lead. Magnificent driving from On. I had no idea where he was going, but wherever he was headed to, he was making an impact. Can't stop. Oh, he can stop the recall. Actually, hang on. Knight's in change now. Is there a teleport coming through? 369. I wonder if he could have teleported behind mid lane and looked for the kill.
To stop the dragon, though.
It'll stop the dragon. That's important. That is really important, actually. The initial play, I mean, Cream just gets massively outplayed. Cream's, but Bezion just says, I'm going to tank your stun. Double knockup. And just go around 3, 4. He knocks up Hung twice in the same play. Of all that's happening, Jackie Love is left out. Yes, there's an ult forwards from Kanavi, but Elk manages to just about, buy enough time. Elk dies, but then look how extended Top Esports are into this play. They've not been able to get the clean play. Jackie Love got chunked out by the Ezreal earlier, and Kanavi doesn't have a death mark anymore.
Heal, Frozen Domain, Inspire, an Interrupt on Hung getting over the wall. Bin turning up from the flank with the dominance while 369 doesn't. We're back to live though. Quickness comes on down and On. Blow a load of his summoners in the last play. There's no Herald to save him this time. Death mark in the backside. Gonna get a junk on tonight. Flash away from the Untofo strikes. Elk survives well, but they lose a support. Shadow down to about a third. Bin in the backside. Strike breaker slow, but can't really get onto anyone. Valuable footwork shield will deny the Arcane Storm too much work. The Hextech Raise though still proving nasty here.
Top Esports will move towards that dragon as BLG. They don't have a Herald for this one. Yes, Knight is 4, 1, and 3. This Victor is scary, but there's nothing to set up for it. If Top Esports don't overstep into a Trundle Pillar, it's a problem. Hang on, Bin, you don't have flash or roll, and neither does Knight.
He's dead. Nice pickup. Jackie gets donated that one. Heal now from Hung, looking for an angle to the backside. Gets the grand entrance onto the Trundle, but dies for it. Had no one to battle dance to.
Hang on, Bin does have E, doesn't have that Dominus still. It was a good pick on tonight. They could have gone on to Bin instead, but let's be honest, you never really want to leave Victor to free fire. Top Esports losing their heads a little bit now. Kanavi losing quite a lot of chunk in quite easy plays about the place. Hung jumped in and went a little too far, and you see how Knight just on the side of this play is actually quite a significant threat. On goes down. You can see that Kanavi doesn't get what he wants to. Ults onto Knight to try and get out. Not a great combo from Kanavi there, actually.
Yeah, it does get over the wall as a result, but can only force some flashes. But hey, you take what you can get. They did kill Knight just after again. A lot of BLG's goal currently is actually coming from, yes, the shutdowns, but also the element of just picking up all those structures. They're 4 turrets to 2. That wave in mid lane in particular, proving really annoying because extended lanes versus all of this rundown, all of this speed up as a Xayah, not exactly fun.
Not exactly easy to play about, is it? Kanavi. What's his next item going to be? Shojin, maybe, actually, could be on the next back.
Derek's a possibility as well, maybe.
Not for Zed. Nah, not for Zed. You're not really... Yeah, it's Shojin, because what it ends up means is that if you go in with Conqueror, Shojin ends up stacking, your Deathmark pops for the extra damage too.
Which is
really, really nasty, isn't it? 369. 1v1ing Bin. Down gold, of course. Did get that solo kill earlier, but Bin does win this extended 1v1. 369 needs to be quite careful here. He does not win the extended trade as much as he wants.
And by the way, he's down about 50 CS here as well. He missed the W. Got to go all out. Going to turn this one up with Dominus back. Footwork begins to go away. Is anyone joining? I don't think they are. So it's just going to be the extended 1v1. I think Bin just wins this at this point. 369 might be having his just desserts from earlier on. We'll try and footwork away. Decent shield. Gets another one. Can look to get on Bin. Kasante gets it! Flash away from Bin. Still can look to make this one work. Both top laners low. Control wall buying space for 369. They're low. Is anyone joining? I don't think so. It's an honorable 1v1. It leads to neither death, but that means he can start a Battlecon on the other side.
And with Undead, they've lost a lot of their enchanting power too, of course. When Shadow could walk over, he died during that play. You could see it in the bottom right-hand corner on the kill feed. It slipped by us. Atacon now getting started. Perhaps an int could work in favor of BLG.
Stun onto Shadow, TP from 369. Bin doesn't have the teleport, by the way, so that means it's just a straight Atacon. They slaughter it in a matter of seconds.
369 surviving that is crucial. It means he can walk up to secure that tri-brush. 369 very nearly won that. Hang on a second, there could be a pillar here. Extreme needs to be very careful. I think someone needs to roam over to him, actually.
So fast!
Someone needs to roam over to him.
Oh
Cream's going to die here.
days!
Kanavi walked away. Cream has that phase rush. I don't know if it's enough.
Shield overcomes Kanavi. Can maybe look to turn this around. Can he get towards another shield? Can't get the stun off in time. And Shadow just runs at him.
He runs at him, but Top Easel saw the blue trinket. They should have known that's happening. They let Cream die there. Poor communication from Top Esports.
Bin's just running 1v1 at this. He's in a 1v2. He's gone very deep with the true shot rush. Chunks out Jackie, but Deathmark into the backside. Trying to get as much damage down as they can, but Bin is just quick enough out with on speed up.
Yeah, Kanavi misses all the shurikens. Bin has enough HP to go in because of that Top Esports. They're starting to get caught up in BLG's faster style of play than them. And Top Esports lose Cream easily. Kanavi should have headed towards him. He chose not to. And BLG will use the opening there to get themselves this bot lane in a turret. Yes, Top Esports did get themselves the Atacon, which gives them some extra XP, but they're not as successfully making plays around the Zed as they were earlier. Kanavi's not executing that well, actually.
Shadow in the bush, Kanavi genius!
This one is good. This one is good. We just say he wasn't executing. That one was a good one. Need to see that continue. He's actually struggled to match his early game impact. I know he's 11-2-4, but you just look at the last few plays on that bot side of the map and you're like, okay, you wonder if there's something a little more to give that. Zed players, you have to hold them to the highest echelons of expectations, because goddamn, that champion has a high ceiling.
Does indeed. I think it's still been a good game. But the thing is, with the game state being as it is, there are enough mistakes, enough entrances from BLG who have been making some good comebacks to make this challenging. There is now an arm guard for Knight. A lot harder to blow him up. You've got the Strybreaker, the Black Cleaver. Bin, for all he was down a lot in lane, has caught up more than well enough. It is beginning to get a little bit challenging just in the 1v1s for a lot of the solo lanes, as Cream and 369 in particular, a long way behind. There's that gold swing. About a 4k one way or the other.
BLG managing to fight their way back from that. You know, I thought they needed the early advantage. Turns out they're just pretty damn good at team fighting. Sometimes Kanavi secures that blue buff, doesn't have the Shadow now. Good knock up by Hung to brave by some distance.
The Shurelias were speeding people up, and I think that has been kind of scary. The engage is basically Shadow and on make everyone so damn speedy you can't run away.
BLG now getting great control around this bot side of the map. Hang on, Jackulov, he's struggled a little bit this game. Gets a step forward this time for once, actually. The Ezreal's been chunking out an awful lot. Is a decent item. Jackulov not at something like a Lord Dominates regards to really deal with that Trundle just yet. Pillar could be quite dangerous here.
Next set grade just shy. Kanavi on a flank angle again off vision. Time with the teleport, still has that available. Cream chunked a little low again. Hung caught on top of that gravity field, but is able to battle dance out to safety.
BLG, just see how quickly they can push up lanes now. They push up that mid lane, push up that bot lane. Top Esports not able to land massive amounts of damage. The Victor doing a great job of being very threatening. And the bonus of something like this Rod of Ages build is that you can actually tangle with the Zed a lot easier. You can step up into the Xayah or something like that. Cream does have flash, but he's caught out a little bit.
There comes the redemption. We'll heal people back up again, but it is the chunks, the range that are proving a little problematic. This Annie and this Xayah struggling.
Bin pushing up the bot lane during this as well. Top Esports, even though they have the playmaking of the Rakan, of the Annie, and the extra damage on the Zed too, they're not able to get clean plays. I think Cream has had a very poor game, sadly, for himself. Down 2,000 gold, and yes, part of that is just him giving up farm to other people on side lanes. I just think a good deal of it is just him getting a bit outplayed. You know, on with that Herald earlier, that one's a bit of a freak one. You don't expect that. But Cream struggling to get good value on what should be a champion which solves this game. This is a big change, though.
Oh, boy, that's an important pick. On just about alive, flashing over the wall.
Can't quite kill him. Not quite enough damage on the Annie. On blows both summoners, though, and the mid lane turret will fall from this. Good moment for Top Esports. That should open up the Dragon for them.
Again, once you burn your flashes, your life is a lot harder. Dragon's going to get started.
It is. Top Esports will be sold point for them on that Infernal Variety. Jackie can do plenty of damage to that. It's down to half HP. That'll clean up the rest of it. Ezreal won't secure it. BLG, despite their great fight back in this mid game, they still don't have great ways to deal with Top Esports if they get into a good position to deal damage. They don't have great CC. They need to start killing someone off who's out of position. The Trundle Pillars and the Karma Qs need to slow people down into grab fields, into death rays, something like that. Top Esports, they have so little CC to worry about. That is an inherent advantage for them. .369 pushing at this bot side now. 203, still down 1.6k gold. For Renekton, you expect to have a lead. I do think the Xante is arguably a little more useful now, actually, than the Renekton. We have reached the 28-minute mark. We're getting to the point where we're fighting around big objectives. It's not necessarily about side lane 2v2s in the same way that Renekton tends to win all the time, really. Jackie not quite at that third item. Look towards that Infinity Edge. Kanavi heading towards bot side. He will shred this poor Crocodile.
Boy.
Level 16 has flash. Quite easy for him to escape, actually. I don't think they spot him go that far. They'll spot him now. They really want this. BLG, how quickly can they cross map? W misses.
Breaker coming on down there, roaming down. Look how fast they are with the Shurelias.
They are. You have the Rakan teleporting in. He can eat in. Jhin does not have something like that in Kasante W.
Look at the mini-map. They've already started at the Baron on the other side. They sped their way over that. They can start rushing this down. That's a Trundle. That's a Knight on the Victor. They can do this damn fast, and Vin's going to get this over here. They had to leave off.
They can't really force it as quick as they wanted. And at the end of the day, it's only the Rakan teleport blown. Kanavi will take the Raptors. Jackie caught out in mid lane.
Been on a flank angle. Commoners needs to beware. There's the battle dance going on in. It's on top of the Rakan, who's low but not down. Gets himself enough of a heal with the redemption. 369. Front foot stepping. Chunk onto Bin. Wonderful start on the backside, but it's just Jolin onto Hung in turn, who's blown up by Bin. Death mark into the backside, trying to get damage on Dawn. Flash away from Kanavi, does stay alive, but not before Elk flashes on forwards against the Mystic Shot. It's a 1 for 2. They've lost the jungler and the support.
And Knight is still full HP. Kasante W goes into the enemy team, tries to get out, and might just be able to do so. 369 flashing away from last Ezreal Q. BLG out team fighting Top Esports.
They just can't do the damage onto the right targets. The range from BLG means they don't need damn engage. They just need to keep hitting people with skill shots.
And it turns out that can be damn effective at points. 369 not able to get the great frontline duty, and Kanavi traded his life for a support. A 0 and 7 support. That is not good enough, Kanavi. Baron will go down, and we were wondering about the execution of the Zed. In that team fight, it was very hard to do so, but doesn't get the value. Baron for BLG sees them into a late game advantage.
Now the Victor is very strong. Here's that replay. Let's have a look at this one again.
Do get Bin coming out on that flank and Hung, the big engage tool. So much of his HP down. Getting damage onto engaged threats gives BLG so much more room for maneuver. Bin, the real hero of this fight, taking down that Rakan means that Ezreal, Victor can play a lot less impeded in this fight, and as we said before, it's not worthwhile for Kanavi to trade his life for a Karma, not with these 0 and 7.
I get that you're trying to full contact team fight, especially with Bin messing up on the other side, you know, messing up your backline on the other side. It's dangerous, it's difficult. It has proven to be very challenging to manage, especially after what looked like a fantastic stun from Cream.
Top Esports have just not been able to use their composition, even against the low CC. I think we're really starting to see the outrange is such a problem. Knight jumping forwards, the phase rush helps him walk out.
Hung's in danger. I think he might just die here and he'll burn out. Yeah, that's him. Surely burning? No.
Just the Leandri's burn, the last of the Chaos Storm not there, but Knight with the phase rush, fancy feat. He's had a great game on the Victor.
Yeah, he has. Early first blood. Cream on a flank angle. Not known as yet. Shadow can end up face checking this. Where's the rest of the follow-up? They're just not there. Looking over the backside is Kanavi. Shield from Knight, though. It means he's not as squishy as he might otherwise be.
Yeah, and also he had that Zhonya, so Kanavi doesn't really want to go into that play. And this is such a fed Zed, but he's not making game-winning plays. He can't quite get that off. And, you know, imagine if that was like an 11 kill, even a Shinzo at that point. You think, dang, Jesus. You have to jump in there and do something else. The Zed, the actual points you can jump into clumped up enemy units is very, very difficult. I think top esports, they've struggled to get their coordinated engage. They haven't had Cream flashing forward and Hung jumping forwards and Kanavi being able to follow up at the same time onto these precious targets. It's hard to do that onto Knight. It's hard really to do that with the Mikhails on to do that onto Elk all the time either, but I think that's how you got to play. You are slowly getting burned out by the range advantage of the Ezreal and the Victor.
Hung getting run out there with the Frozen Domain from Shadow. Go back away, and again, this is play 1 MVP in game 1, but we've seen this from Hung. Great early plays into maybe overplaying a little in the mid stages, overplaying, getting himself killed on that engage angle.
Infernal Soul now up and available for top esports. BLG playing the second top esports could, of course, give this up. Go for something else. Baron buff is still ticking out. Let's engage from top esports. Decent bit of poke from Kanavi.
369 frontlining, will Pathmaker away to safety. Should be okay at this point. Kanavi getting rid of some of that engage. Vision.
Jakilov at his third item now, importantly so. He's not really been able to play that much either. The outrange on the Xayah is really, really nasty for it. Jakilov will have to flash forward in typical Jakilov fashion, going onto the dragon. BLG have allowed them onto the dragon. That's a mistake.
They do it so damn fast. They've got a Xayah.
BLG, no!
Oh, this is going to become a flip. It's taken by Trundle. They win that one, but the Burgers are still on the griddle, trying to turn this one around. They kill off Bin. Nice start. All the while, top esports chucking the backside. Elk needs to hop away. They pull back on Elk. Wonderful for 369. Night Shadow need to run. They got the dragon, but at what damn cost? Nice still got his Zhonya's. Needs to keep running. Sped up by his sight from Bao, but a knock up at the grand entrance. Kanavi trying to keep stacking that cleaver. That auto, the Conqueror there. Queen can't get in range, and Shadow and Knight retreat.
So the soul has not been claimed by top esports. A good smite from Shadow. Very hard to do that against the feather pullback and the auto attacks from Zed from below half HP. The Baron buff has timed out though, and top esports may be able to push in for an inhib. We'll see. There's an inner turret to go through instead. They'll at least get the inner turret. Mind you that they have 3 grubs. They take towers quickly. It's only going to be the 1 turret. That could have been a game-ending play. Yes, they can. They have the 3 grubs. It helps them an awful lot. They won't be able to push for more though.
With Shadow and Knight being around, how aggressively they wanted to play that, because Shadow was positioning really aggressively. Frozen Domain. Shadow forwards, on with the Shirelius again. They are so mobile, BLG.
They are. Knight coming in. He's just coming through into the play. He has that slow through from his compatibilities.
In comes Bin. Look for the angle of the True Shot Barrage. Got so many members. Top esports so low. And they're so fast. Slow from the Shadow slash actually might be key. Jackie's so down by the smite. He's in danger. Feather pull. GA is not going to be enough right now as he's dead.
Kanavi, what can he do? You have an ult. You have to make this Fed Zed do something, Kanavi.
They just keep running at them. Walking so damn fast. It's a sprint. Usain Bolt would be impressed.
Kanavi just can't find an angle to jump in, and BLG, they find another play off the back of it. The outrange has been disgusting. Engage or no, BLG have held top esports at arm's length, kited them about the map, and top esports have had precious little plays to make.
They literally just ran at the Xayah. She couldn't move fast enough at all.
Jumping forwards, Elk getting jumped on, who has flash, has barrier. I think he's got enough HP.
Does manage to get out, loses about a third of it though. Knight goes golden, gonna get shunted back towards a turret. They've killed off Shadow as well. Nice fade to Shadows. Damage comes on down. Elk has to hop away. Barrier working. 369 still so damn tanky. As he gets the footwork back out to say that they won't end the game.
Oh, that Kasance has just made themselves late game enemy number 1. What's happening in the rest of the map? Teleport behind. Who's got
Elk's just arcane shifted.
Just arcane shifted. It is the Rakan. There is no ult on Hung. He should be able to get out of this now. His cooldowns are back. Hung, nothing left to do about this one, but does stop the recalls. And now a teleport coming in from Annie. No dragon up just yet. Baron's up in a minute. Things have gotten messy, folks, in case you hadn't guessed that one already. Top esports thought they had a game-winning angle after the last dragon fight, despite not getting the soul itself. Couldn't end the game. Damn near lost it themselves after that point too. We're back to even? Question mark?
And again, I don't think either has really credited just the amount of movement speed differential there would be this game. Like the Victor, the Karma speed ups, all of the speed up with the Shirelia coming on forwards, Frozen Domain, Bin with his slice and dice and the smites coming on through. It's so hard to keep running away from BLG.
Teleport into mid lane. No Baron done on spawn. Dragon up in 2 minutes. Recall for some items. We're basically even on gold, folks. We have some, of course, empowered boots from the side of Top Esports from Feats of Strength. Going into the next fights, check those summoners. Watch out for those wrist rockets, as someone famously once said. No flash on that Zyra is huge. It has very little way to fight. Jackie, it's a difficult comp for the Zyra to play into. Of course, the early Zyra Rakan pick, punished in lane by the Ezreal Karma, but could have been worse. The late game is where the Zyras really struggle to get value. The outrange, the movement speed differential makes it so hard for Jackie to play.
There's a single flash up currently, and that is on Hung. Ons will be up shortly, but it's not there quite now. Not quite sure that favors.
Yeah, Serpent's Fang onto Kanavi is really important too. It denies rather a lot of the late game value from the Karma, and it does mean that it's much harder for you to play around, you know, the second shield in a fight or something like that. Ezreal comes up again. All it does is clip through Rakan passive shield. By the way, they're getting up to some pretty high levels too now at this point. Redemption onto Hung, but not onto On. That Redemption, lack of it, could be quite painful. Of course, the Shirelles is valuable, as is the Mikhail's. Not going to deny that, but none of that AoE healing from that item, which is so strong in the current meta.
Clear out this vision, try and hold court. They've got the one wall behind them. They know it's there.
Top Esports can give up Dragon for the Baron. Shadow walking in!
No, he's gone. He's just dead. He face checks it. On's now in danger. Dragged all out. They've killed both.
With Dragon in 30 seconds, Baron available, Top Esports have the pick of their late game objectives. They should be able to get Baron quickly, go over to the Dragon, and Shadow's face check may have cost BLG the game.
They walk in the valley of Shadow's death, and now Top Esports will find the Baron at the bottom of it.
Top Esports take the Baron, they'll move towards the Dragon on spawn, and I hesitate to call it Shadow's own fault there because they had to check the Baron, but it was him that clicked into the brush. It was him with the smite that died. And BLG, perhaps it does once again stand for bad late game. Elk, it's got to be a steal. Ooh, can't do it. Top Esports walk away with Baron and Infernal Soul. Surely a game ender.
I've said that once or twice this week, and it's not proven to be particularly true.
I think with this one, you look at Kanavi on the Zed. I don't think he's had the easiest game on Zed into the late game. He's struggled to make it work, but the extra Infernal Soul proccing and when you're getting the damage calculation for the death mark, stuff like the Zaya Qs as well. Very, very hard for you to shrug off that damage.
Very much so. 4.5 items done for the Cassante. And look, you've got this massive lead for the Victor. The Victor who has been a problem as this game goes on. Credit again to Elk, who's been hitting a lot of damage. I think we'll be seeing some impressive Ezreal numbers at the end of the game. As it stands, Top Esports have managed to right the ship after a mid-game that began to slip away from them. The securing of that Baron and Dragon Soul as well.
Yeah, so, you know, this game started as should have been lane advantage for BLG. Sort of was, but Kanavi's early kills made it much easier for Top Esports to play through the early game. Mid-game hits, BLG claw things back a little bit with their range advantage. Goes again a little bit later. And Top Esports use their vision control to make sure that BLG have to face check, and then their CC advantage ends up being the difference making. You see the tug and push a pull across the game. I do think that Top Esports probably should have had an easier time of it with such a fed Zed. They haven't been able to utilize it that easily. And you can just see Jackie has really struggled to play the game. Does have a huge advantage now, going in towards likely a Bloodthirst to last to shrug off some of that poke. Has a flash, and one flash could end the game now in a good enough fight.
Now going to the ward down on top of Elk. No, that's there. The Shadows and the Shurikens. 5-4 from Kanavi, gets a Shadow Slash down. Actually, that's 369 potentially zoned off, but he's still so damn tanky. Trying to jump on him, but hung in the backside, looking for an angle. As On has been chunked out by Cream and the Tibbers.
Subjugate's down too. They used on to 369. I know it's a lower cooldown at level 16, but 369 happily shrugging that off. Typically playing a tank into Trundle is death, but 369 doing a good job of using that W backwards to make sure he can survive. Redemption getting some good damage, but that is the Chaos Storm, some damage.
Get a bit of a jump, but he doesn't really do all that much but clear the wave. That's important. Hung ends up taking a lot of damage from Elk at the back end of it, but Kanavi all the while just takes his turret so damn fast.
Yeah, the 3 grubs really helping Top Esports. They couldn't get that earlier on. Does have flash, trying to scan out with his W, if anything, his Q, if anything now. BLG, they had a range advantage, but they can't wave clear through the Baron. They need to survive another 20 seconds. They've lost one turret in the mid lane. Good poke down to Jackie Love.
Get a chunk behind. That's John to Jackie, actually, with the teleport coming on in. This gets interesting. Trying to jump onto Bing. Quickness comes on down. He's going to get charmed up as 369 by space. They should surely kill the Renekton in good order. Kanavi is not here, but he goes all out. Onto On. Flash away from the Karma. My God, the Cassante is tanky. Flash. Deathmark. Back out again from Kanavi, who does go down. The autos were already in the air. Trying to get some damage down, but BLG stand and deliver.
Kanavi fails the play again. The Fed Zed can't hit anything as Elk.
Whoa!
So close with a double snipe. Top Esports with an Infernal Soul cannot cleanly end the game. The Baron buff times out. Top Esports break the base, but they don't end it. Kanavi on the Zed, so good early, but struggling so much to have impact in the late game.
I want this replay, and I want it slowed down, because I think Elk flashed out of a couple of the shurikens to make sure he didn't die to the death mark.
Because Kanavi was really out of position. He was pushing mid lane, and he didn't respond that quickly. Now, the first part of this fight, going back onto the Renekton, that was good. They managed to go back on that. 369 probably goes too aggro here. The double knockback, that's fine. I think this ult is too far. It carries him a little further than he wants to. And Kanavi, I don't think he realized where he needed to be on this fight too. He flashes to get the ult onto Elk. Yes, it does mean his flash is down, but he really overplays things. Zed is not a tank, cannot survive that amount of damage.
It costs every flash but Knights. That play is still dangerous for BLG.
And I don't think that Cream has been the main character this game. He's down 4.5k gold. He is still an Annie with flash. With all those flashless targets, one flash Tibbers could end this game now. Kanavi, please don't face check this. Kanavi.
Oh, Shadow back out. He's all right.
No, I don't think he is. The pillar.
The pillar's coming on down. He's surely going to die now. He wasn't all right.
He is not all right at all. He goes in way too deep and dies in the late game, down for a minute. Now, luckily for him, Elder is not spawning now, but without the Zed, and again, there's another poor late game moment for Kanavi on such a fed Zed. This gold lead is such a bait from the jungle. He's not been able to use it at all.
Cream has sold Blasting Wand for Arm Guard. He's still at 2 items at 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, he's given up a ton of farm elsewhere, but he also just has very lacking ability now to impact this game in the same way. There's no cleanse on Elk besides that Mikhail's. If they catch On and Elk in the same play, eventually that can be the death of them. BLG pushing in across the map. Kanavi up in 25 seconds. Baron up in 45. And you'll notice that Top Esports, they won a lot of their last kind of push in this game off of a good vision trap. They don't have that vision control now because Kanavi made such a big mistake by face checking there and dying.
Gold is near enough even. The Infernal Soul makes things a bit different. GA is done for Zion, not the Bloodthirster as we were wondering about. So it has gone towards that second life option.
And normally I don't like that compared to the Bloodthirster. But in this game, you can use the Rakan W to guard the revival. And the same with the K'Sante W as well. Especially when you're in that tank form. 369. Oh my god, he is tanky. He's cut the gold lead down to nothing now because he's full build. Actually, Bin is not full build. 369 is an item over him. This Renekton, he has one play, and that's get onto a carry and somehow kill them. He lost his GA in the last play. You can argue that, Top Esports, they're playing without a jungler, sort of, if Kanavi's going to be playing like this. However, Bin, the Renekton, is starting to fall off heavily.
Of course, the other side, we are still in this position where this Karma without the flash, Ezra without the flash. It's a lot harder to play these team fights because the flash is what kept them safe the last two plays. It'd be difficult to do that this time.
Both buffs have spawned, the Baron and the Elder. We have double buffs on each team. Blue buff just fell off for Top Esports. They won't have that. Cream has flash. You see that move away from On.
Kanavi on the flank angle. They get the charm. That's a lot of damage. Shadow's dead.
He's dead again. Shadow dying. Smites down. Bin on the flank. He must save the game. Where is the stun?
RV is in danger. They jumped on a Jackie-Love, but the exhaust, the Zhonya's, they're going to keep him alive. Cream surviving, but they're going to do flashes away from the Arcane Storm. Bins have to back away. Elk looking for an angle in. Pulled back by the Ozoma straight part 3. Cream not a fantastic angle though. Damage on the backside. Jackie! But Jackie gets that Renekton. Kanavi hops back to his Shadow. Elk now in a position. GA on Jackie means the Ezreal cannot do anything more. It's a bird of prey.
Jackie-Love has been waiting the entire game for that fight. Uses his summoners effectively in his ult and will clean up the kills that Top Esports need. They will get the Baron. They will hopefully end the game off of this because I don't know how they'll end it. They can't do it with this one. And BLG lose another late game scenario off a misplay from Shadow.
Who else face checks, you ask, but then you can't do it and then just die. The vision play happens again. Somehow Top Esports, despite not having control, are able to wrestle it and set up a vision trap when they should have had no time to do so.
And, so many people were saying, oh, it's definitely not a honeymoon phase for BLG anymore. I wonder.
Yeah,
BLG, their vision control has struggled. The Baron will go down, and it's another Dragon and Baron over the Top Esports because they are much better as a coordinated team. This is the risk of playing around with changing junglers. There's not even a face check. They have full vision of this. He just goes too far forwards. There were control wards in that brush. They knew who was there. He dies too easily. BLG were looking for a flank on Renekton. Clearly not timed as well as they would have wanted. Honestly, Bin does about as well as you can expect Renekton to do in late game. That is what Renekton does.
You can see Elk trying to make use of the space and the separation, but Jackulov also manages to do the same. Real credit to him. That max level of that W gives you a ton of attack speed, forces the flash out of Knight as well. That could be important to return to.
He's still got the GA. He's got the Mortal Reminder now. Actually sold the Lord Doms off for a bit more anti-heal.
Jackulov has his flash too. No flash on Knight. Got an Elder. I think Jackulov, flash, a couple of autos and a pullback. Someone's dead. He is full build on this one.
GA done for Kanavi, by the way, so it means he can go very
Deep with the Elder, trying to go on top of Elk. He gets him and back out again.
Kanavi gets his 15th kill on the Zed. A difficult game for him despite the scoreline, but that might be the play which ends the game. Bad late game strikes again.
The heroics are there from BLG, but it's still not enough. And again, they walk through the valley of Shadow's death. And unfortunately, Top Esports come out the other side with a 2-0 victory. Promised land and first place for Top Esports.
BLG, despite the good start to the split, have run onto the rocks